You've survived day one and you've made it here into day two of poLANd.tf 2025, brought to you by Essentials.tf. I'm Turbo Tabs. I'm joined with the meal deal on the couch here. I've got Condawg with a big tall glass of sake.
Hello.
Think about it. It makes sense. It makes sense. All right. Anyway, welcome, gentlemen. Obviously, Sake, it's nice to have you from Forfence. You were ringing in for Brugesman on day one, and now you've joined us on day two because your boy should be here now.
Yes, indeed. He is here, and he will take on the leads of the Forfence that I cannot take myself, and it will be great for them, and I hope that they will win this tournament.
Yeah. And Condawg, you weren't exactly playing, but you were here. You were hanging out. You were with the boys. You were interviewing some people running around. Face it, you're one of us plebeians now. You're not these prestigious players like Sake here.
Yes, Turbo. I've come to the dark side these days. I'm just using my big yapper, which I used to use in game as well, But no, it's nice to be on this side of things, and it's great to be here, seeing all my friends again. That's why we come, isn't it?
Now, gentlemen, it was an electric day one. Obviously, a lot of games being played. 7 rounds of games. Obviously, Sake, you were probably at the forefront of this and feeling it the most out of everybody here. What was day one like? Was it like tiring? Was it like a marathon? Or was it quite just fun and chill?
I mean, it was expected to be a long day. Like, the first day of LAN is always pretty intense with all these games. But it started off quite rough, but in the end, we got second seed, which made us really happy, actually, because it is kind of hard to replace Brugesman since he is kind of the pillar of the Forfence. So, actually, there's no way to replace him. So I could not make these calls and do the plays that he does. So, getting actually into that place of second seed, even though it was pretty hard, made us really happy, and now I feel good because now my job, I feel like I did my job, and now
you've done your
now
boys
I can
proud.
Yeah, exactly. Now I can just relax and watch some games and go see what's the Warsaw city like during the day and all that.
Well, Condawg, it sounds like it was fun to play, but was it fun to watch?
Oh, yesterday, Turbo was probably some of the best games I've seen in a long time. I mean, I don't know if you're really paying attention to the other game's sake. What's it like, actually? I mean, Turbo, if I may steal a question for,
fine.
Taking the host duties. Obviously, you're playing your games. Do you really pay attention to everything else that's going on? Do you know all the other teams and their scores? Or is it, you're just in your own little world, just sort of focusing on your own games?
In our bracket, yes, actually, but the B brackets, since we didn't play against them, we weren't too aware of the scores until the end, at least me. But in our bracket, we were actually following it quite closely because, especially during the towards the end, because the MAC team tied against Yak, which we also tied against Yak. So in the end, it came down to our final match, who would be second seed, and we needed to win with at least a 3-round difference. And Nivo and Mula made all the little calculations with round differences from all our matches, and they were like, is there a way for us to still make second seed? Because at some point we believed that it was third seed at best, but then there was a way, and the way we made it happen, so that was nice. So yeah, we were paying pretty close attention, but I think Witness were going to be seed 1 regardless with all the wins.
My God, you can tell you're very top-level gamers because you're already jumping way ahead, straight into the standings of things, when really I want to kind of remind all the players out there, because it's not just about the points on the standings, it's about the points in the game as well. Nice little frag clips. Frag clips.
Desperately to go in a backstab.
They're not going to see this one coming, though. It's actually going to work.
He's disguised as a soldier. He's moving too slow.
Don't worry, they're gonna hold S at some point. He's just gonna stab. He's gonna get the stab onto Lucky right now. He's gonna get away with it for.
You're just kind of waiting for that to sink. As this he casts a casting of drop coming in.
Damn, the Faust actually.
He's hit the bow out as well.
Silves
can just come in.
Beautiful.
For the
come in. Eon doesn't have, so Eon has to be very, very careful in his.
Maybe don't think that would be enough. Line
Oh, it's actually a stack in at the other time.
See if they can pull it off again. Punisher already in behind the combo. Beautiful damage onto.
Jumping, trying to initiate here, trying for the air shot. He gets the second one, and that was. Oh,
He's so weak.
Oh, he gets.
But he will, yeah,
Oh no!
Oh, the bomb in from Ems.
Pass to the left side. It is now Flick suffering though. Ems is jumping, and the big.
Just absolute chaos at all times. It was like decent, right?
What are we watching? Oh, no
How
way,
did you get
man.
out?
Assassin's Creed step! And there we. That, like Elliot is
They're
dealt
actually
with.
doing it.
Oh!
The
No!
spike.
So who's going to chill it out, right? This timer can take down, and it's so advantageous. They really want to go.
See how they approach this. Happy goes in for a deep bomb onto the medic immediately. Will not get away with it. Never mind, he does get away with it.
On Jenny, only playing with his foot
They're not feeling the pressure at all for that matter. And their flank out of Danny is good enough to pick up Yak. Arno gets taken down as well. He's going to easily gets through. They have a scout watching. He wrecks him.
Oh! This is so much cap time on the point. KN
All right, last time. Sure, fastest ever. Nice little rocket there onto.
coming out. KN fancies himself a bit of an angle. That's a
going on from the dot. They're actually using the Uber straight away, but they need to find kills with it. Nice set of jumps, lots of damage. See you in the frag.
Well, I mean, yeah, we saw him in the frag video, like, there he is, and also, these are the standings. This is the aftermath of all of those little frags that have happened in deciding our little group stage. These lines represent who makes it into the top bracket of our double bracket system, and also in the bottom bracket of our double bracket system. And that bottom line there, those are the teams that we have to say goodbye to. I'm afraid, like, we couldn't see them, but fortunately there is a B tournament happening, so hopefully we'll see those guys playing in that, and maybe we'll kind of catch wind of what's going on with that. But anyway, gentlemen, and you look at these lines, is there anything surprising? Anybody making it above these lines, below these lines? That's kind of shocking to you, Condawg.
Honestly, Turbo, I think what we have here is pretty much what most people would have expected. These sort of top 4 teams in each group, they're the Prem teams. You know, sure, the 7 teams from the season and Mac who entered the qualifiers. And then you got the Div 1 teams in the sort of the next sort of slots. And then, you know, the lower teams that maybe a little bit less experienced, sort of crumbling into the B tournament there. But one, do you know what I'm really excited for, Turbo? Do you know what I'm really excited for? What? I want to see these top 2 seeds go at it later on today. You know, I want to see Mandem versus Witness. I know we're jumping ahead to Turbo, and you're going to criticize me again. But I want to get deeper into the tournament already, Turbo. I want to see them clash. Is that too much to ask?
Well, it is right now because it is round 1, and obviously it's a little reward for kind of doing so well in their little group sections. They do get the better sort of start here. Because like anybody, sake, when you've obviously played a rough day 1 and then you have to go to sleep, you've had maybe a few drinks last night, and you have to wake up in the morning. It's kind of rough, isn't it? Kind of recollecting yourself as a player in the morning, right?
Yes, definitely, especially when your Airbnb is a bit scuffed and some people snore. I won't say any names, sadly, but maybe you can single them out if you find them at LAN. But yeah, at least for me, I didn't care too much because my gaming time is over. But for the rest of my team, especially Brugman, who pulled up here like at 1 a.m. yesterday, like you arrived very late.
Lord.
So he had to set up, didn't really have time to adapt to the setup, and now he's straight playing Antiside first game. I think they probably started or starting very soon at least. So. Yeah, it is a bit complicated, but I mean, I feel like it's like this every LAN, to be honest. No, I don't know. I heard that the Mandem team has a really comfortable mansion with king-size beds for every player. We chose the option of nearby. I'm not sure of the word, but we're like
proximity. Yeah, very
exactly.
close by. I know it's quite a tactical point. People think mainly about the TF2 aspect where they just go and play like, oh, you played a good TF2, but you need to think about just like planning and all this. Part of the challenge of LAN, just getting your players to the goddamn event. And you'll be surprised how difficult this could be. We've had many a story once upon a time. I still like telling the story of Pappy turning up to literally the entire opposite end of Sweden when he was supposed to play in some small Sweden LAN. But this is here nor there.
When was that?
Oh, this was like a while back. This was like a small little like LAN. It was called Sweelan, I guess, just on the nickname. And I think it was one where Banny actually turned up, and Pappy was like just a lowly bud little like ETF to well player. Yeah, he was but a boy. Anyway, Butter Boy also didn't fucking turn up to the right place at all. He was completely on the other side of the thing. Hildreth had to hire a car, come and fetch his ass with the rest of Low Panda. But bless him, when he turned up, he did beat Banny actually in a group game. So, you know, just rewards. Anyway, little tangents aside, here at poLANd.tf, we have obviously got just kind of the cooler, easier games for these teams right now. We had to pick from the lot. I think we did decide to go with the Danish Tyrant regime versus BIGBLOKELAN out of the entire group. But, you know, it's kind of difficult. There's some spicy games in there, isn't there, Condawg? Like, if you know, or do you think we should have covered that, maybe that Venom Crest game at all?
I mean, we got some pretty big games coming up ahead of us, so you're not wrong. I think the DTR versus Big Bloke is probably the game to watch. You know, Big Bloke there, the sort of the dark horse of the tournament. DTR, honestly, probably overperforming at the moment. You know, a lot of people thought the class swap with AMS and Smile, it was going to go a bit awry, but it's seeming to work for them. I don't know, maybe it's the AMS soldier effect on LAN. I mean, we shall see, but this looks to be probably one of the better games to be watching, and we'll see who we'll be facing Witness later when they beat Samakar.
I mean, okay, no, I'm not even going to feed that that you know, different reality, but yeah, with this game we'll probably clean that up quite nicely. Obviously, those lower bracket teams, they're sat there, they're waiting nervously to see who their opponents are and anything. And is it completely out of the running for these teams' sake? Like, do you think any of these lower teams have a chance to make this lower bracket run?
I'm actually not too sure who in the lower bracket. Is it part of the second slider you showed, or it's
it's right at the bottom there. I know you're not used to looking down there, Sake, so I'll let it go.
I
So
am.
this is where the loser teams go. This is their second lifeline. So obviously, if they lose any more games in the future, they haven't got any opponents left because they're trying to pick from whoever's coming out of that top bracket. So
I think the Dogs.
The Dogs.
If there is one team in there that could upset people, it's definitely the Dogs, in my opinion. I mean, we played them. I don't know if that. I don't think that game was casted, but it was not that. It was pretty close actually. It was a 3-1, but one of the rounds was a spy backup, and the other round was in the last 30 seconds or something. So it was actually a pretty close game against them. They were playing really well. So depending on how people feel in the upper bracket today. If these guys are feeling it today and they get dropped and matched against them, it's BO3s actually today, right?
Yes, I was just you've done my work for me, yeah. So yeah, thank you very much. Maybe you should be hosting over here, but you're right. We are switching the format up ever so slightly now. It's getting to more serious games. That means we need to give a bit more forgiving format. Best of three is going to be involved. We're going to bring King of the Hill back from the depths there, and finally unlocked map pool for those gamers. And Condawg, you seem, I guess, riveted at the chance of King of the Hill coming back.
It's not just King of the Hill. I want to see Yak. I want to see a little bit of classic sniper. We've seen Varney do it in the season. It is incredible. Do you know what I like about Turbo?
What do you like about it?
You have no scope. You're not sort of focusing on this tiny little, this tube of vision. You can see the whole screen, and you can still do 150s.
As fun as I would like to make this entire little breakfast show about a 20-minute rant about the classic, I don't think they're going to allow them that map. I think that map is going to be absolutely... Because keep in mind, I need to remind you, there are still map picks and bans here, keyword bans. And I think everybody is going to be using that group stage to kind of figure out what they shouldn't and should play. I don't think we'll see Snakewater again for Witness for a very long time.
Look, Turbo, I was doing the rounds last night, all right? A few drinks were being had by some of these players. And, I was trying to stoke the viaduct. I was talking to Demul. I was like, Demul, you come up against Yak. Why don't we see a little bit of viaducts? I think you can beat them. Stoking the fire a little bit, stirring the pot, trying to get them ready for it. That's what I want to see, viaduct.
I mean, I kind of respect it. I kind of think as well that this LAN is also a stepping stone for Witness Gaming and their sort of American sort of journey here, Sake. Obviously, it's on the minds of a lot of people here. Do you think, I don't know, do you have any sort of responsibility as from Four Fences side where you think, man, we got to put these guys through the ringer if we really want them to do well in America? Or do you guys not care about that? You just care about the Four Fences victory?
That's the mental, yeah. I think we want to win. definitely. Because Forfans already won Prem.
I want to hear you, sir. I want to hear. There you go.
Forfans won Prem, but Witness wasn't there, so winning against them at LAN would be kind of a statement, especially since Forfans is like a full French team. So if we win this LAN, then
point it to you, sir. Point it to you. I
oh,
want to
really?
hear.
It has to be this close. Okay.
Okay.
In the mic. So yeah, like if Forfans win, then the full French team would win EU LAN with the like strongest competition, and then the Americans would know that potentially the team they will be facing is not the strongest team in EU, and maybe they would be looking forward to facing a full French team at some point. But I still think that Witness will kind of destroy at least most of the teams in the US.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I imagine it's a good learning experience nonetheless for Witness at this LAN. And obviously, this I think a couple of losses here and there is a good wake-up call, a good little chance for them to kind of recover. But obviously, it's going to be far off into the future before we see these boys. I think we're going to transition now, talk a little bit about Danish Tyrant regime and Condawg. Danish Tyrant regime. They, like you said, they've been overperforming this LAN.
Overperforming, or maybe this is their form, Turbo. Maybe they are actually this good.
Unlocked an actual LAN team.
I mean, look, I've played with Smile on Scout. I've played with Ams on Scout. I've played with a lot of people on that team. And sure, Ams is famed for his own style of TF2. He loves this sort of chaoticness that he brings to the game. But when you're playing with a few different people, like your aliens of the world, like your Juxters, they're not too used to it. They're maybe enjoying the Forfans style, the French style. It's hard to keep up with. And I think, when he didn't pick me up at the start of the season, he changed the way he's going to have to play. Now he's on the soldier class. We all know he's very good at it. And Smile is, I think he's a bit underrated by some people. I mean, would you say you rate Smile? Is Smile a good player, or is he?
Yes, I do.
He's a good little guy, isn't he? I think he's really got potential.
Right, yeah. I agree with you. I think I've been standing back behind them, and I'm surprised how much Smile communicates throughout his team. Usually you look at this lineup and you think Smile is like the fresh-faced boy out of this, and he's the one that's gonna. But no, he's the one that's taking charge. He's taking command, isn't he? See.
And if I'm not wrong, Smile used to be a scout main as well. I'm pretty sure. No, he had a lot of impact on that team on Soldier, but I feel like his scout, especially his calling. No, I haven't played with him that much, but I talk with Alien, and Smile is the one now making more dynamic calls on that team, and apparently it works well. I think also being at LAN helps, because I mean I'm not in the team, of course, but from watching recent streams and stuff, it seemed like from an outside point of view that the team was kind of on a downward slope. We've watched the stream, whatever. But now at LAN, everybody's chill, everybody's playing together, sitting next to each other, and they seem to have figured it out, and it's good. Everybody seems to be feeling well as well, so that's cool. And I think the match against Yak will be actually really close.
Now, Condawg, obviously, he was mentioning about that LAN factor. Is it nice to be able to kind of sit with your boys, and if somebody's just falling out of line, you can literally simply get up, go around to his chair, and just literally what are you doing, Ams? Why are you making that push there?
I think the best thing about LAN, Turbo, is that you can build relationships here that you perhaps can't online. It's that. Why am I getting eyes for that? It's more about you can actually find out who the person is and get to know them a little better, rather than just the voice and the name on the screen. If it goes wrong after game, you can go get a drink with them and be like, guys, let's hash it out here and now. You go into the next game, you're a little bit boozed up, but you're ready for it.
Someone's not been watching Venom Crest at all, have they? That is a very different dynamic. I don't think that these boys would ever say it's all right, let's build that relationship. I'm pretty sure they break down a relationship every single time they fire up a server. But anyway, obviously their opponents, Danish Tyrant regime, we're playing against BIGBLOKELAN. Sake, if you had any sort of just words to sum up to any people that have no clue about BIGBLOKELAN, what would you describe them as?
Very good. I don't. Unexpected, they have a sale. I talked to him yesterday, and actually I didn't know, but this guy has only 3 seasons in TF2L, which is not a lot. 3 seasons.
Yeah,
and he told me he played low, then 1 div 2, or low, mid, and 1 div 2, and now he's or something
Yes.
something like this. I'm
Low,
not too sure.
mid did 2, and then like now he's in Prem. Yeah,
Yeah,
believe it or not, in that low season, I think I was like playing against the boy or something like that. I don't think I was in the low at that time. I was. I started playing TF2 again. Oh no, awful decision. But it's so strange just obviously see this guy. He's had one of the quickest trajectories of a player I've seen ever in TF2. It's very similar to AMS, which is oh my god, that's his opponent tonight.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's very keen as well, which helps, you know. And the world needs more keen pocket scouts, apparently.
Well. We got the map picks and bans. We're full force into the best of 3 format, and that does mean a best of 3 format picks and bans. So already I'm seeing BIGBLOKELAN will ban out
I think
Process.
Sunshine will be decider.
And yeah, the map pick does break down to Granary for Danish Tyrant regime, and BIGBLOKELAN going straight out the gates with a King of the Hill map. Product, they're not put off by the group system at all, Condawg. Do you think a lot of teams would be scared to pick these King of the Hill maps because, you know, they weren't allowed to play them?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Product's going to be a great map for BIGBLOKELAN against DTR, to be honest. I think, you know, with the scouts on DTR, they've got Smile and Flick. Like, these aren't, you know, they're not bad scouts.
Yeah, they're not pushovers.
You know, and then, honestly, I think when you got a demo like Alien Smiley coming up against Mac's famed for his knowledge of the game. He's not
Yeah, you're not like, oh my god, I'm getting fragged by Mac.
He's not the Lucas. He's not the Habib, you know? And I'm a little bit scared. I think this might be over in 2, honestly.
Yeah. But maybe this is part of their sort of, they still have that upper bracket, like, safety net's sake. Do you think, like, these teams are still not taking things as seriously as they could be?
Nah, they definitely are. But actually, I disagree with Condawg. I think...
Mac's a fragger. Shut up.
I think Max got the product. I feel like Smile Team will win the Granary probably because of Granary experience. But I was talking to people, and even I've played against I've scrimmed a bit with 4 friends before this LAN, and most of the teams we played were actually the Mac team as scrims, and they were talking to me and said like Mac's teams have always been surprisingly good at COF maps, and Mac is like, I don't know, like we played him on COF, and his playstyle was like very fearless aggression and like calling, not getting caught, and they looked really solid on that map. So I think they might take that one, and I think it will go to map 3. That's my prediction.
All right then, Condawg. Break down map 3 for me then. You got Sunshine. That's the pick that's kind of laid out from all these little bands. The leftover child. It's kind of we've been seeing a lot of LAN, like. Yeah, Sunshine?
Yeah,
I
was talking to DTR yesterday. I think they played it 3 times already this LAN. So I think, you know, they might be a little bit warmed up on it. You know, they've been able to practice their strats a little bit. I think now with Smile calling, especially the last push. The last push is one of these that, you know, you take it in one of the sides, and it's all about getting that crossover to the other side. And Smile's the type of guy, he's big on team cohesion and getting those nice countdowns and sort of making sure the boys go across together rather than the sort of little dribble that you might see from an Amzuber. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think Sunshine could honestly go DTR's way. I'm favouring them in this matchup. We watched sort of Mac versus Yak yesterday on Sunshine, and Piggles was having a rough one on Sunshine. He was overcommitting to trades in sort of every... like across the map, really, and I'll be shocked if BIGBLOKELAN get past map 2, so it won't be going to Sunshine. It won't be going to Sunshine.
All right, okay.
Interesting.
All right, gentlemen, I'm just going to pick your brain one last time, and then we'll see what the casters have to say before the games get going. But first, you have a quick check of your text, Sig. Just make sure you've got the script directly texted to you. So. What does the man of mystery on your phone say is going to win this match?
Actually, it's KO, and I think I actually have no clue what he's up to, but I think I will meet up with him later or something. It would be nice to have him on the couch, though.
Well, yeah. Who's going to win the match, Sake? What do you think?
Which one?
This one, Danish Tyrant regime versus. Did you turn off your mic at some point? Give me that.
All right. Scuffed.
Now, who's winning?
Smile.
Turbo, it's going to be Smile. It's over in 2. That's all it's going to be.
All right, let's end this scuffed segment. We're going over to our casters. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Hopefully, we're here with 2 working mics and a great game to boot. So that's going to be great fun. I'm Peter, and of course, I'm joined by Tomato. So, Tomato, actually, one thing that they didn't discuss that I noticed was that BIGBLOKELAN, they banned out Snakewater. Why would they ban out the map where they beat Witness?
It's nice that you're asking me already these questions. I am done with, making those predictions. These people just do what they do, and we're casting. Because honestly, if I look at it, like my 3 success stories of this LAN already were our very first game, DTR unceremoniously taking out Anti-Side, and this is my prediction. That's why we're starting out on Granary here, because that was also played on Granary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then BIGBLOKELAN beating Witness in the last 1 minute of the game. They kept that 1-0, so that's the second success story. But then people, I don't think we even covered it, but ForFans was unceremoniously taking out BIGBLOKELAN, and if you have it like 3-way, that they should handily have Witness Gaming in the back. But do you have any prediction on why they banned Sunshine?
Well, they didn't ban Sunshine. They banned Snakewater.
Sorry, yeah,
banned
Snakewater.
My guess would be that they think Snakewater is boring. That's like my best guess, and this is a Vibes team, right?
Yeah.
And they just think, no, Sunshine's going to be way more fun. We want to have fun, and if we have more fun, we also have a bigger chance of winning.
I want to intercept onto the Vibes thing, since I did my research and they did their due diligence, and I had a nice meetup, or I was privy of this meetup between Piggles and Ams.
Yeah.
And Ams just looked Piggles straight in the eye and said, "We're gonna crush you," and then and the Piggles was just laughing it off. And yeah, that might happen if I just crash mid-game through the game because I'm still drunk.
Yeah. I don't know when Piggles got home last night. He was probably late.
But I mean, if it's going to be their game, or if that is going to be their win condition, then I'm all for DTR here.
Yeah. It's going to actually be an interesting question. Normally people have to wake up, so they're going to play bad on the first map, and then at some point they wake up, they get warmed up, and they get better. But Pickle maybe it's just the opposite. He's just going to crash at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, but maybe that could also be a stratagem for DTR. Rather, try to slow the game so much down that you feel how you're fatigued, how you're slowly, losing your energy, your power. And especially since Pickles is such a, I want to put the raking light onto him and then even put him into a spotlight. He is calling so much for medic standards, and that is why his entire team revolves so much about when is our Uber ending, where is it traversing to.
Yeah. It should also be pretty interesting because both of these teams have had some pretty weird Ubers. I think it's just that both Jordy and Smile are relatively new to playing Pocket Scouts at this level. They haven't had that much experience with it. So some of their Ubers just end up looking very weird, where they'll like go in way too deep and they're just like, I guess I'm just going to keep going forward and leaving my medic, or I'm going to wrap around in this way that doesn't really seem to make sense. So we've seen some really interesting Ubers like that, where sometimes it works out. I remember like Jordy in Rollout on Process just killing 3 people looked very good, but it was a very weird Uber to take. I think Thomas would have, and even Balder would have just gone back way before having to hit all those good shots,
I mean, I do agree on that account. That is maybe where we have to shed the main light on sort of approaching those Uber fights, because they weren't that clinical on BIGBLOKELAN either. Especially, I tapped a little bit on it yesterday. Piggles always or usually expects pressure plays to be made, but then he sort of, Mac sometimes expects Piggles to be part of this sort of pressure play, and then he falls. But now, everyone, we are going live indeed, and the red faction is occupied currently by DTR, and the blue battle group is BIGBLOKELAN. So let's see how we approach this mid here.
Yeah, it should be very exciting to see. We've seen a lot of big bombs coming in from both Warp and Leth, and of course AMS and Nikki. So I'm expecting some real fireworks. Maybe we're going to see some people sitting on lamps. Not quite the high aggression that I was expecting just yet. No one has done the big wall jump. We're just going to sit back. Okay, first order jumps in. That's not a big jump in. That was actually a terrible jump by AMS. I think someone.
But now the follow-up bump might come in. Bloke is doing what Ems could not, and that's 4 players down. Only Flick living. Can he collect another frag into his own pocket. No, only the taunt to go in his psychological warfare disadvantage, and it nets Piggles this 100%. And you saw how they try to slowly approach this, you know, spam them from afar, try to create the opening, but Ems shut down, and after that it was curtains.
Yeah, like something must have happened to Ems because that jump was just really, really terrible, right? Something must have hit him to just go that, just in the middle and do nothing, basically. But it's going to be a nice Uber ad here, so BIGBLOKELAN, they can get a really quick first round here. This is going to be a fantastic boon for them if they can make this work. Let's see how it goes. They're about to pop in. Flick will be on the sniper, so they have to pop pretty early on. They're actually just taking their time.
Yeah, they're taking so much time. Now it is popped initially onto, who bombs his head right there onto Mac, and Flick not able to pull out the trigger finger. The sentry gun still is nimble instead. Warped on 4 HP, 4 HP for the enemy team after he receives that aiding Quarrel by his own medic, but they do get the collapse here. Ems is coming through, only Pig is living. Can they put this little piglet into the abattoir? He is still trying to be chased out. Set sail, he was trying to sort of even give him this parity in the escape route, and it does work out.
Yeah, does manage to just get all the way out. It doesn't even get any forward spawners on mid. That's kind of crazy, but does make it out. All right, so where is they're gonna do this? That was like a giga bomb by AMS there. Oh my god! Yeehaw, aka Nikki does so much.
And the Uber is popped out responsively as well. This sky is apparently overcasting by frag material. Jordan still, or Jordi rather, still in behind their lines, but eventually emptied his clip. People still in enough fitness. This sticky trap is the recurring theme, the recurring bane, but they have spotted
no one has ever died to it on this land, I'm pretty sure. They just run through it and clear it every time.
So much damage though from Smile. He's completely in alone, battles 3 players, but they're not really fathomed by that in the long run.
No, Emma's gonna go up top here.
Oh, 2v1!
Yeah, takes a 1v1, except that was not a 1v1 at all. A second soldier just came right in, ruins his fun, and he had no backup at all. I thought maybe he had like a medic there or something. No, that was just nothing. So, actually, Mac goes down. That's a big, big issue. I think they were thinking of holding yard, and they're just going to keep on going forward. They don't care that they've lost their demo man. They're just going to take the Uber exchange. They take down Nikki as well.
But they pop so early, and they should have definitely cared that Juxta isn't even close, and now 20, 30, 40, 50% better Uber advantage for them, and they're able to collapse here. Ems amplifies this aggression on the enemy team, and so much destruction in a very short time span. And you know, they again lack in their own Uber department. They are like Piggles popped earlier, and they should have realized, yeah, we have this Uber advantage, but they were so much just tippy-toeing around. And
I thought it was weird that they just kept going when they lost Mac. They lost Mac way before any Uber was coming into play. They could have just held yard, no problem, but they decided to go for it anyway, and that was definitely too brash. And I do wonder if maybe they're not thinking quite clearly, just yet. Yeah, the haze hasn't lifted, let's just say.
But let's see, I mean, now Sail is peaking, and we see only 5% Uber percentage separate, but they use really early, so nothing to gain for the defensive sniper anymore. The sentry is addressed as we speak. Now only the dispenser falling down. Finally, sentry gun shot down by scattergun shots.
Oh, we got the parachute. that was why Bloke was just going down so slowly, and he takes up so much attention that that's a great hold. There we go. However, Smile and Juxta, they do make it out alive. They're going to have a pretty decent chunk of Uber to hold on to, so perhaps they can slow them down on mid and then just hold their own yard.
Both teams already very refined on their own Uber last holds, even on Uber disadvantageous positions, and Nikki wants to nick someone, hiding, or rather jumping in the air. 1 rocket, 2 rockets, 3rd rocket hit, and that is 3 players down. The space was created. He's waiting for an aiding Quarrel, but they are eager to most certainly take this initiative route into the yard.
I'm really hoping that neither team figures out that the key to winning so far is to not push. That's just seen every time they push in, they get punished super hard. So hopefully they don't figure that out, but I want to see a fun, aggressive game, and they do keep on moving forward. We have even Ubers on this second point. This second point is very difficult to force your way into. However, you can kind of poke and prod at the edges here. As you can see, Nikki is in that stairway. That's probably where he's going to
But
see
Ems
some
is
action.
taking the initiative, and one mech attack lacking, and it is Ems is still receiving the end result of this Uber Flash, and it might even work out in their favor since no Demo Man. Sale is switching to the sniper class, but they're already on their own doorstep here at the end of that fight. Missing 2, missing 3, missing almost 4 there. Juxta is the main recipient of that blunder play. That is what happens. Nicky is on to the medic. Piggles serves out like a little piglet that he is. Pigs apparently do grow
Flick is being
wings.
sneaky. He's actually going to go for it. He's on
1v1.
the point. Takes a scout 1v1. Okay, it was not quite a 1v1. There was one other there. A valiant effort there. Nice try. But again, these last pushes are not looking too hot. Maybe they need to just slow it down once.
I also hope that you're not speaking too loudly to, evidently say to them, yeah, park the bus. No, I like this energetic playstyle, but yeah, still the team is in the advantage that it doesn't want to push early. Ems is bombing in, but no consequential damage coming through. He was simmering through with this idea, but eventually it was not enough. Also, no follow-up. That was just a solo suicidal wave or play.
Yeah, it was not very non-committal. Usually when you see that kind of bomb, there's going to be a scout or a demo man following up, but it was just kind of a big bomb in. I think he was hoping to get onto the net, but not going to find him. They're going to Uber in here instead. Going to do the Jordy Uber, and he just runs behind. He's just going to keep on going and switching into the sword. This has actually worked out great. And now that he's behind, he could actually cause a lot of trouble here. Jordy, okay, he has wrapped all the way around and gone back, but now he's going to be on Demo Man. If they can take him down, this is going to be around almost certainly. There we go. Big taunt from Big Mac. It is going to actually die, but all definitely worth it there. Rip his KD, but he takes a round, gets the taunt in. Great job. BIGBLOKELAN take the messiest first round that I've ever seen.
I'm also not reading in-game chat. I had my viewer a little bit distracted by that. Meg has some funny talk about that, but BIGBLOKELAN take that very first round on the trot. 8 minutes as we are heading straight in here. But honestly, DTR was hesitant losing or just lazily losing their players. They're honestly like 2 or 3 players down forward, and that definitely helps you to nail down this last push. Let's see if the mech attack is full in swing. Artillery is loaded through. Battle of Verdun setting up in the muck and shooting some projectiles forward. Jordy rather on the blue crate. That should be a great position for him, and Nicky still tries to figure something out. Where does he want to peek from? Will he initiate? No. Again, very, very tranquil.
Yeah, they're just going to take it slow. They don't want to go for the big bomb in. It is quite unusual. Usually that means that they're not too afraid of the Demo Man, because that's where you can fall in on them. All right, we do have a soldier bomb in here on the side, and actually, yeah, AMS goes for the aggression and immediately get punished. And now that everyone's trying to move across mid, but they're not quite going to be able to walk on 4 HP, go to survive. Demo Man so weak, Jordy quite unable to get that. But that was just the slowest mid I've ever seen, and it seems like as soon as one team went too far forward, they got punished really heavily. So
Also sort of warped himself into another dimension, since there was no focus fire. He could have so easily been cleaned up, and that could have been another venue
the skip.
into this. The skip jump, can he hit it? No, Juxta is surfing out. Côte d'Azur reloaded on the beach. You can tell what a surf that was, and it keeps the Uber advantage even.
Why was he so weak? Did he actually get hit?
I think, he did get hit, but only one rocket. Pretty high damage rocket.
Yeah, okay, so something else must have hit him. I was like, there's no way he got like the air shot and then didn't crater, right? I was almost worried about that, but a great try there from Ward is a jumper main. Put it to good use there, just got in super cleanly, got 2 good rockets off. Didn't quite get the medic kill, but maybe they're just going to try and do that again. We did see quite a lot of man-tread shenanigans yesterday, to some pretty good success. I don't know if they're going to do that again. I can't think of like a really good way to get super close.
Right now they're slowly only Tipitong, they are trusting into Warped, but well, the problem is on those jump maps you don't have an opposition that sticks you out, so it makes it a little bit more difficult in a serious environment, and now they have this one pick advantage for the face of them. Alien wants to traverse, but on Mars or on Earth rather, he doesn't wield the same capabilities currently. Also, we see no off-class switching off, we see 1 or 2. Oh, that was another jump from Bloke. 10 HP, all you need.
Yeah, more than one, that's all that matters, but yeah, great balls of steel there from Juxta, just holds on to the Uber. Ice hands, does not want to pop in unnecessarily. Okay, Warp's going to go again. Oh, my God. So, okay, 1 out of 3 times that worked out great.
I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He is not a Lox player, apparently, since he's ruining his stats, but he's the only one really trying to cook something up. We didn't see any off-class, off-switches. That was the main point that I wanted to get across. 1 or 2 players are falling down, sometimes intermittently changed out, but no one is really opening the shutter for another player to come in. And Bloke does it now.
Oh, man. Like, Alien's been on top of these stickies. It seems like wherever they jump in, the stickies are right there. So he's been predicting it perfectly and detonating them properly. We've seen a lot of people just walking through sticky traps. Not with Alien, it seems. He is fully locked in. He's not going to miss these easy detonations. And they've actually just given up on Soldier. Look at that. They're going to switch to the Spy.
I maybe talked loud enough for them to figure out, yeah, we can also try hands on off-class. We had an ominous figure, by the way, yesterday. Talking about the radar. Alien definitely has that radar right now with the sticky traps. And Big Bloke here. This entire team apparently is named after Bloke, so let's see if he can find a very crucial frag. Maybe not even the medic alone. Also, the demo would be great. I mean, there are already 2 sticky traps there in the yard. They have spotted it for the moment, but very, very ponderous play. Oh, you can't bump that medic.
I was so close. Just almost accidentally, but he's gotten in a good position. Nobody's really checking behind. If they can just cause any kind of distraction to cause everyone to look forward, I think they should be good.
Juxta has his head there on a swivel a little bit. They're only really doing the pressure play, but they see the shutter is open. You don't do that, my man, because now you shudder at the end again. Flick is calling his little guy out, and now back to Highlander you go, my friend.
Yeah, like all the spy mains out there just cringe watching that. So they're going to go in for some counter aggression here. AMS going for the big air shot, not going to hit it. I think that's going to be that for this push. And they're going to try to retreat out here. But Jordy, he wants to take the fight now. They feel like they have a good advantage. There's actually quite a lot of players here, so he can switch the Uber around quite a lot. And again, Jordy, he is in so
missing
deep.
His shots. And it was very, very, very intelligent play, by the way, of Flick just darting back, and that forced, or rather that allowed Juxta to not multi, and they had a decently high, timer on that Uber duration dished out, but alas, the damage didn't really favor them, since BIGBLOKELAN simply took the high ground, and it's now a battle of the lunchbox. Eat your lunch in disquiet, Nikki, as you're being nicked by Bloke instead, and it's still sail in or last.
Yeah, and Jordy's going to come in and try and follow up. Does do a lot of damage, but not quite enough. Soda comes in. They're coming in 1 by 1, it looks like.
They're onto Juxta!
Oh, huge pipe there from Alien. Yeah, that was just not quite organized enough. They just came in one at a time. There is stickies above here. I think they know about it. It's going to be very difficult to come out here.
He's jumping through. The stickies still present a very dangerous settlement to take, a looming menace, but it delayed them for such a prolonged period of time, since you have to keep in mind 2 versus 5 players at the inception of that entire play stance that we only then covered, and Mac had the very able stickies. I mean, he does attack, but he also does protect, apparently, Mac, and that enabled his players to come in, and we are heading straight to the half-minute mark here.
Demo Man is super strong in these last... you have a soldier fight, and actually it's going to be Nikki winning that one. Scout's going to come in here as well. That's going to be not going to be able to be followed up on, so that's just a clean pick here. As Warp actually catches them out here in the little connector area. You don't want to be bounced around in there. Looks like they're just barely going to escape.
That smile was almost turned upside down into a frown. He was hiding in the corner for like 10 seconds on 4 HP, finally receives a bolt. But again, this sort of, aggression even inhibits the defensive team trying to do something, because if you always have to worry about players sneaking behind you, you can't really claw it back.
No. All right, we got some top area. I don't want to say shenanigans. It's just a push in here, but we've seen a lot of plays where you just send in a soldier up top. Maybe you get a second soldier to follow up even after. But, it usually involves one spamming and then the thing guy body block perfectly there.
What a wonderful turn of events. Like both soldiers. I liked how they switched the soldiers out, so you might have thought, oh, that soldier only has 100%. No, he has 200 HP, and that's the secondary soldier, but alas, the two soldiers also on the red compartment, they're very coordinated in that, and now Yard is officiated by red squadron of players, and they are still trying to fight them a little bit long range, but nothing really is opened up, and they have to worry about the left flank, but Alien has his stickies very readily available for the opposition.
Yeah, all the boys got brought to the yard there, but we didn't really see any good result come out of it. They just decided to retreat at the very end there. And that's kind of been a recurring theme as well, I think, where they push out, and in the beginning they would just overextend and die, whereas now they're actually retreating once they can see it no longer favors them, and they're just going to go back and reset. So I think we're just going to continue to see these fights here.
Oh, nice preemptively fired rocket, and it's a bit of a mirage, honestly, for me. I wasn't expecting this game to only have a 1-0 lead, and now they're slowing it down. That is not very eponymous and not very telling, usually, of BIGBLOKELAN. They have realized that now they have to put on their big boy pants and take this entire competition, maybe also heading into the playoff stages, more serious. But Warped wants to see what he can find, some damage, only really spamming it through that little knack that you want to congregate like behind.
He might be the distraction though for Bloke, so that Bloke can go in. If they're spamming out Warp, then Warp will, or sorry, then Bloke might be able to go in here for it, but not really finding anything so far. He doesn't have any heals, so he's going to have to rotate around it and get heals before he can actually do anything. Yeah.
Oh, finally
catches someone out.
Finally a frag. I was about to cue Twitch chat into this. Please post, maybe not your resident sleeper emotes per se, but what was the last frag that you remembered? Alas, now it is only like 2 frags, but I think they want to initiate here. Sail is not really spotted early enough, but also doesn't have enough fitness. The health numbers are not high up, and you see 1.5 minutes. You can simply tick down the timer now.
Yeah, time is definitely slowly running out, and they're actually just going to take a fight. They're going to Uber in the soldier. The soldier might go behind lines here. This has been a pretty common one, but Bloke's not going to be able to make it in. Jordy gets taken down as well. These are the type of Ubers I was talking about, where it just seems like they're not quite as experienced. They overextend really heavily. When you just go in dry with an Uber against Uber like this, you can't just overextend. You have to get back out and reset and try to take a fight, but
yeah, they were once more set into their own sort of endemic environment in that sense, that they tried to sell this idea to us that they're so passive, but you saw how it didn't really come. But Warped is jumping in. Sick Semper Tyrannis to Alien there. The Danish Tyrant regime is slowly crumbling a little bit from afar. Mac is a follow-up frag to fall in the disfavor. Nikki, perfect rocket here, and he's going to clean Pickles out of the sky. Another Piglet into the abattoir.
Really clean jump in there. That's going to change the entire dynamic of this match. There's a fight in Yard. Actually, Jordy might lose this. Oh my god, I thought he was going to win for sure. How is Flick winning this? I don't understand. He should be dead so long ago, but he's just still somehow alive, just limping around with 3 HP, the ultimate life form, continuing to clean up here. And despite not having a medic, this is actually looking pretty decent all of a sudden for the big blokes.
It would have been
Danish
perfect.
Tyrant regime, sorry.
It would have been way more perfect for Danish Tyrant regime if they could have kept their medic alive, but it was Warped. 4, 5, 6 jumps onto the medic, I don't know, in this entire game so far, but he claimed one for his own lock so far. Stalemate, everyone loses, go next, head straight into the second mid-fight, which is, third mid-fight rather, but it's crazy to say since only 10 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual to see a round reset coming out from that second point. It's almost always in the yard, but they were basically stuck inside for the longest time. And that they just could not break that. So very interesting. But yeah, great second hold there. Didn't able to overextend enough anything to happen. So we got another mid fight here. Mac's gonna go up top, and he's actually stickied out Alien.
Alien
really well.
cannot reach that very juicy health pack that he wanted to gobble up, but he is now receiving this Scrabble from his own medic, and that might bolt his entire stream and team forward as the jolt force of the scouts and the soldiers already flung in. Bloke finds Nikki, gobbles up on that man, and the red crate has Doom embroidered on it as the chase comes out. 3 players down, and Bloke onto the medic here. The tour de force is not cancelled. No, you're the victim. Game over, Juxta.
That's really sick. Smile just barely gets that kill as well. But yeah, what a speed jump. He was like fired out of a cannon. Just came in so quickly. Pickle's going to be alive. Warped and Jordy. There's going to be all capping on mid here. It's pretty damn nice. And oh, we're back. Can Flick make this work again? We saw yesterday, it was 2 spy picks about this time as well. A little later in the game. But he wants to see if he can recreate the success with this spy play. And he's on the Invisiwat, so he doesn't have infinite time.
I swear Flick is such a niche off-class. He even has the Black Rose, this reskin. He has all these reskins, you know. He isn't one of your mainstream spy mains. No, he's one of your very niche and very potent sixes spy mains. He is peeking that soldier. I don't care about the soldiers. I am only gobbling up on a drop.
He
and
gets
there
it again.
we go. Can he even win that 1v1? No! He gets the shank into Jordy.
Oh, welcome to Flick jail. Everyone's getting shanked. That is such a huge play by Flick. It works out again. See, I thought yesterday when he did those 2 plays that he had ruined his odds to ever make it happen again. But no, I guess it just works on Granary.
He showed his prowess on the Assassin's Creed step yesterday, but today he can also waddle about on the low ground, and that nets a wonderful 100% almost full Uber advantage to Juxta. Ems though, they lose Ems, they lose another complementary player. Piggles has some very quarrelsome for the enemy team, and that force is quite disastrous.
Yeah, they get almost nothing out of it. Pickles getting that random arrow, both heal and a kill, just really changes the dynamic. And now they're being pushed back here despite having the big Uber play. So I think they want to hold on to it. So Demo Man is extremely powerful on this second point. You basically have to Uber through, and you don't have the Uber yet. So this might just be a massive roadblock that they can't quite overcome before they have their Uber. So things will slow down here for Danish Tyrant regime. They're going to take it slow. They're going to get into a better position, but they have to be careful. Look, if we are going to have a top push, we very often see them just go in here and wrap around. And that's a really nice jump in from Ward.
They've spotted for the time being, again, not amplifying his own team forward, but that was a sort of like idiosyncratic play, staying there on the high ground, but it nets Juxta now having this 100%, and I was even trying to pose a question, never mind. Opposing Jordy, losing Warp, maybe another player. Nikki, very strong with the projectile damage sources, and Meg has the sticky trap, but it is not really exploded onto a very pivotal player, and it looks way better for DTR. As
Pickles popped on no one. He just popped on himself to save himself. There was no one there with him, so he just got out alive, and that's basically it. It seems like as soon as one person on BIGBLOKELAN overextends and dies, they just all kind of extend to try and help.
But Bloke is in! He migrates directly into Juxta, and you have all these little hopes, the scraps of hopes are turned into dust by all those big bloke gamers, and now it is Ems in behind, but very easily spotted. Not even a single sweat of, a single drop of sweat is broken
not
there.
Not a single bead to be found on his forehead.
And not at all.
As they're going to be moving in now. They have this massive man advantage, they have heal advantage. We just saw Juxta now spawn. It's just going to be, can Alien stop them in the choke? Oh my god, he can. He just nukes everyone trying to go through the shutter door. And now they're actually going to be trying pushing. The exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen, but they need to be careful. Pickers has this Uber ready, so they can just pop in at any time if they ever get the feeling that Juxta might be too close.
And I feel like they have this urge right now to pop this on. I mean, Granary was the Demo Man show, but take that as with a grain of salt at the end, as this Uber was thwarted for the time being. And the midden heaps
again.
It is Bloke. He's still on. The midden heaps were not turned into the disfavor of the Danish Tyrant regime, but almost.
My kingdom for a single more rocket, please. He was just desperately reloading, and he just could not reload it fast enough to get the final rocket off. Juxta's going to survive on 10 HP again. I feel like that has happened a lot so far with these soldier bomb-ins. That's definitely gone in their favor. But DTR, they're still down one round here, so they can't just sit around and dilly-dally. They need to move forward. They need to get this momentum going. They have this minor Uber ad, but they're not really pushing very quickly on it. I feel like they should just go in way faster. But yeah, there are soldiers in the skybox. Well, threatening to just come in on.
Oh no, Nikki's in though. I wanted to say blue soldier can call. Environment took 300 damage, but the thing is, Danish Tyrant regimes soldiers say the enemy team takes even more damage. Let's see if Sail can stack it out. There are 6 people there on the midpoint, and I think they're probably even going to block it. Yes, Pickles is using this Uber to try to block the midpoint. It is going to work out. Sail is now alone on last, and that might be a 1v1 matchup here, and that might decide this second round here. Sail.
Scout oh my god, that's such a huge win there for Nikki. Huge play. I guess that's the old Scout main, just he knows exactly what he's up against there. He's soldier against Scout.
He was also taking it as a very conservative approach, but you also have to keep in mind Pickles popped on mid to block that entire mid point, so the Ubers have equalized, and it is sort of, well, set in parity here, but parity in deathmatch not so fine to play Bloke once more, but he hops out like a little bunny rabbit.
He found the rocket.
Finally, he reloaded the rocket, or maybe he has just 5 rockets finally in his rocket.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Two. But yeah, right before he did not get it. This time around, he gets rewarded. I guess it's just some sort of cosmic justice. Just eventually, things will work out for you if you try hard enough. And there we go. It's going to be BIGBLOKELAN in the driver's seat once again. Full Uber ad going into last. Nothing's really set up. There's a sentry gun that's being slowly built. It's still level 1. There's a sniper. There's no heavy. This is just a great time here for them to move in. This could be the big play that really settles the map once involved a BIGBLOKELAN.
We are at the advent of this oncoming Uber fight as Mac is leaping into the sky and already pouncing through Price with his stickies a little bit forward, but only the sentry gun. The technical one is turned into scrap and bolts, but Flick tries to peek out, but destruction is all that there is at right now. Only Am's living, but you're being laughed at. Also, Smile, that is something for the camera, apparently, though. That's a 2-0 up. And BIGBLOKELAN, they were able to mitigate their own... there we go.
Yeah.
Medic down easy. But they were able to mitigate their own, like, really bad Uber pushes by the sheer fact that Bloke and all these players always kill Juxta.
Yeah. It's... we've actually got a crit streak. I just saw that on Juxta. So definitely keep that in mind. But yes, this has been the messiest map so far of this land, I feel like. It is truly the day after the map. The
map after tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Ems is leaping in. They have to now up the ante. High octane
Craters
action.
Mac as well. What a shot coming out of AMS. There's going to be Sail running out Pickles, I think. Where's Pickles? No, they're split up. Okay, Sail's actually behind. Never mind. Maybe they don't realize.
Does he have enough wind in the sail though? No, he is going to back out concurrently of it. And this crit streak advantage will probably not matter that much, but the main question I'm posing to the audience, if they have spotted it, I mean our audience is smart, they have spotted it, but have their enemy team spotted it? 2 rockets. Ooh. Revenge. Good night.
Yeah, I love that they just keep on taunting after every kill or every round win. That is beautiful. That is the pettiest form of... Okay, we've got this crit streak ready. It's going to be a soldier up top. It has been spotted. They don't quite know where the medic is just yet. But I like taking the soldier up top because if there's anyone there, then you're very close to them and you can pop on the soldier. Soldier is better than Demo Man in close quarters, but now I think they're going to switch it to Alien. They need to clear these stickies though.
No, he took it off him, and the headshot comes in as well to make matters worse, rubbing salt into the wound. Someone is trying to hop out like with a... Oh, M's still in with the equalizer. Nikki on top. Let's see if he can gobble up another very juicy fake. Oh no, there's the taunting!
Get saved!
They are so committed to the taunting, and Smile not able to rub that smile off Mac off his face.
I'd be so mad if I was Smile. This dude is just actually taunting and getting saved by his teammates. Like, oh, come on. We got the big flank going on. They're just all in now. They need a round right now, and they know it. So this is like a way overextension, but they kind of have to. And they're even going to pop the Uber on Pickles for no real discernible reason. But yeah, Mac's just hitting right now. He's taking his pills, that's for sure.
They're definitely he's just... Like, he has
He's
like
a taunting machine.
No, he has 10 minutes of downtime this entire game. I mean, he can reload by stunt. Oh, another wonderful bolt. Pins Smile to the ground, and now we are in the realms of a mathematical impossibility. Unfortunately, Nicky's hiding on the lamp. Are they enlightened enough indeed to check that very eponymous and set-mentioned lamp? They are now traversing still to mid. There's Alien in the sky, but nothing to be found. Juxta.
Oh, Pickles actually dies to Juxta. That is a bit of a revenge.
Oh no!
Oh, the double kill, Juxta.
Oh my
Getting
God.
some redemption there. You'd love to see it. They've just been going in full force, by the way, on DTR. They have not...
He's still laughing. I just saw Mac on the side still laughing. Yeah, we know what your taunt. Do we have other taunts as well, my man? And now Warped is engaging in this 1v1 battle, which is definitely not for him. But we have entered garbage time. It is the brilliant pipe onto Jaxa. Can't dodge out from this.
That is just actually hitting pipes
predicament
really well at the very end. It does look a little bit weird because oh my God, Alien got some pipes in him as well. And the second
he's not finished. Alien is not finished. He wants to be in the frag move. You only have to enable
5
the
seconds.
HUD.
Don't run away. Cowardly scout. Oh my God.
You have to disable the timer on the top 2 presented as a frag movie material, but at the end, BIGBLOKELAN take that, I don't want to say at all, handily, because that's a 2-0, and that is a very, very, very hard fought 2-0.
Yeah. It was so messy. It could have gone either way. It was just the last pushes were really not there for DTR, and some of those pushes turned out really poorly, but it almost felt like they were both struggling a whole lot, and it just happened that BIGBLOKELAN got a couple of wipes where they got enough momentum that they could actually go in and cap last. I don't think we ever saw like a proper. We have an Uber ad. We're just gonna push in, take our time, and then get a proper cap. It was almost never like that. It was always a momentum thing.
It was always them trusting to their own soldiers. It also seemed since the soldiers were able to sort of circumvent these damaged sources that were flung at them, and we saw Bloke and Warped on it. Ruining his stats, but maybe we can have our eyes peered toward how they concretely ruined their stats, as I think our desk might be acknowledged on that.
Yeah, let's go to him.
Okay. All right. Oh no, we're all sharing. Okay. We're back. No, this one's not working. All right. Well, anyway, there's no desk, there's no mics, there's no nothing. You know what else there isn't? There isn't any sort of advantage happening for DTR. This is the map pick, apparently, gentlemen. Condawg, welcome to the desk. And also, Stephen, welcome to the desk as well. Obviously, you two had a crack job where I sent you both to each respective room. What can you report back to me, Condawg?
Yeah, a couple of agents of chaos here, I believe. You know, I had the privilege of being behind the DTR boys, exactly behind Smile and Ams. You know, the two big names on that team, and it wasn't going as swimmingly as I sort of had predicted. You know, I thought this was going to be over in 2, but it was all kind of crumbling. Maybe as much as we had predicted before LAN. You know, people were thinking this wasn't going to work, and the combo was just a little bit dysfunctional. You know, Ams was slamming the keyboard a little bit, which you never want to see. He's hitting some shots, you know, he's making moves, but it's just not working enough, and the mids were just not really going their way. It's like they turn up to mid, Ams is already 100 health, and it's like, guys, you've got to leave. Guys, you've got to get it out of there. And it's just over like that.
Stephen, what was the atmosphere more like in BIGBLOKELAN?
Yeah, it was actually really good in there. It was a really constructive environment. I mean, we definitely saw some beef pushes. I mean, the score was only 2-0 in the end of things there. So it wasn't, you know, the craziest round benders ever all the time. But when something went wrong, they were really talking about what went wrong, what we need to change, making sure they understood the pushes. They've got like named pushes and everything. Ooh. I don't want to spoil them and give intel to anyone else, but yeah, they were on the same page. They kind of knew what they were doing the whole time, and when something went wrong, they were like, here's how we improve it. And then I saw genuinely, you know, the next push they would put in, you know, the new addition. So it was really good in there. And obviously, every time anything goes right, they're screaming, and it's great in there. Yep.
I mean, Condawg, it sounds like, you know, the team made from heaven. It sounds, you know what I mean? Like, you could more textbook TF2. It sounds like the constructive, the hype when the things are going right. They've got, like, obviously preparation involved. They're being, you know, helpful for each other. Meanwhile, DTR look like, you know, the opposite, like the atypical, if you had to design a bad team, like they're raging at each other, they're calling things incorrectly. I was watching a bit of them as well. They're like, nuke! I've never seen a 40 damage nuke before, but like, yeah, okay, like.
But bro, the one thing you're forgetting about, sure, they may not be the best team. They may be a little bit dysfunctional, but they have a lot of skill on that team. They have renowned players. They've been playing this game for years. He's been playing since I was a little wee lad. You know what I mean? These guys have been playing. They're good top-level players. And, you know, as we go on to the next map, it's Viaduct, baby. A little bit of cough. First time cough on the stream. I'm excited. I think they're going to do bits, you know. And can we just quickly shout out the Flick Spy?
Yeah,
Third drop in like
the
2
Flick has probably
days.
been the most consistent spy at this event. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, this is why you don't see too much spy. He doesn't bail you out of an entire map, and well, that map pick was to Danish Tyrant regime. Did we just write them off now, Stephen?
I absolutely don't think you do. When I saw those pick bans, actually, I was a little bit like surprised that they went for it. I think this MAC team has been a little inconsistent previously when we've seen them on Koff. Sometimes Geordie goes sniper. And I rate Geordie after seeing his scout gameplay. Good comms. Do I rate the Geordie sniper as much, though? Not so much. It's been good in the past, but I don't think it's his forte at the moment. And I think it's one of these maps where if your scouts pop off and you can go super aggressive, it's really good. Flick is actually really good at Viaduct when he's playing right. However, when he's trolling and doing absolutely nothing, it's a bit painful. But I haven't seen Smile really play scout on this map previously. Have you?
Let's not forget that DTR 6 scout mains.
That's true.
We might see some off-classing. Who knows who's going to show up a scout on this map? But as someone who's played with Smile on Viaduct, he knows what he's doing. He takes control of the game. He grabs it by the, you know.
The cojones.
Exactly.
My God, we're running out of batteries here. All this. Hopefully, these teams are still. We've still got one map left to play, and okay, well, this is fun, isn't it? But anyway, Viaduct coming up. That's our second map. This is still a best of 3. If we see this go positively for them, we'll get to a map 3. If our mics can last till map 3. But yeah, what are the odds? I think Condawg, are you going to see this next map 3 coming involved, or is it really going to be a 2-0 shutout?
I mean, I thought it was going to be a 2-0 shutout for DTR. So I mean, I've got to be, you know, I've got to be calling for the third map. You know, I'm screaming for my AMs, my Smile, my boys. You know, I'm hoping they'll make it through. Are you back, mate? Are you back? We'll see. No, no, absolutely not. You know what? I'm taking over. I'm in control of this now. Viaduct, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be 3-0 to the DTR boys.
3-0. Not sure if I agree with the 3-0. I think it's going to be a bit more of a nail-biter. I reckon a 3-2, and I want to see it go to a third map as well, so I'm going to give it to DTR.
I'm going to think it's going to be a 2-0 shutout, and yeah, before this mic dies out, we'll go to a break.
And we have resolved the Russian microphone roulette.
Yeah.
It always depends what microphone does have batteries, but at last, Granum Salis, I hope that DTR take that very first map with a Granary of Salt, but we are now productively being taken into product. And I know your thoughts about product. You are the biggest proponent of product. You love product, right?
No.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's fine.
I like product.
Yeah, I don't like playing as much, but I do like watching. I think it's fun, and I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what kind of AUG classes we're going to see, because it is very famously a very good sniper map, and yeah, 6 scout mains, right? One of them is going to be at least thinking they're a good scout or a good sniper. So we have like AMS maybe returning to scout here a bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at some point. So there's a lot of things that can happen here.
We could definitely see that the main issue is also that is the latest point in time that is where it can sort of come in, since we're in the playoff stages now. It's now or never.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually funny. I'm just looking at all these players on DTI, and I don't actually know who the best sniper main is. I would assume like maybe someone like maybe Nikki or Flick would be the best sniper, but I'm not quite sure.
But the guesswork can end now as we are unloading our configs and SoapDM heading straight into product. And let's see who is the most productive player of them all. Flick is already on his main class. Okay, he was only switching, checking in spawn.
Just checking, but yeah, already threatening to go spy. As we actually see a lot of spam onto the blue.
Oh, Ems, that was not the play, my man. 2 HP.
Yeah. doesn't manage to get in there. He was definitely trying to get onto the Demo Man, but the spam was just too strong, could not get in there in time. But BIGBLOKELAN, they've moved forward here, they kind of overextended, and everyone's going to end up dying here. Pickles, the lone exception, the important exception. Medic is by far the most important class on any map, but on KOF maps, it just gets multiplied so much more heavily.
Indefinitely not only amplified, but also amplified, since he's dishing out the heals, since this is a 24/7 deathmatch material fight at all. And now we see DTR have taken it, and I like the impetus on Ems jumping forward, but we saw the damage was too much for BIGBLOKELAN to deal with. The first cap of this entire map goes the way of DTR, and they have now to stare down the barrel of Alien.
Yeah. At some point, BIGBLOKELAN, they need to go forward here and actually make a play. But it looks like they are going to just get the scout kill. I think that's going to be the go sign here for them to move forward. And are we actually going to see an Uber? We are going to see an Uber to contest this point, but we've seen a lot of kills outside of it.
Flick is chasing here. Can he tranquilize the flank once more? Equalizes a little bit in the player and personnel department, but there's a blue demo chasing through main. Can Mac hit the pipes, hit the stickies? Still not sanguine enough. Those players in the sky. Ultimately, Jugstar caught out. Could have maybe backed out early enough, but the deathmatch was too much for them to deal with.
Yeah, the cleanup is real here right now for the BIGBLOKE scouts. And this is also a pretty interesting question. You have two scout combos. One is Sail and Jordan versus Flick and Smile. Which is the better scout combo? Because that usually is very important here. So they try to bust Mac here in the forward spawn, and so far he's actually holding his own. He's going to eventually have to back off, I think. Yeah,
Johnny's chasing onto Alien in one pick. Can he find another? That's a few too many shots missed, and eventually Jugstar with an increased heartbeat, definitely, but getting back into that resupply cabinet, and reincarnation was not on the table, but Sail is on the table on Sniper.
Yeah, the first time we see something like this, a defensive Sniper, that's an interesting choice. So they're going to be down one scout. They just would rather have a Sniper here, but yeah, Mac also did die. He held his own. He delayed them a lot, but he could not get forward in time to lock him in. So.
But the battle for the Pride Rock, no one is falling from that, and it forces them to use earlier here. Jugstar is so low on HP. Can he nail bitingly close? Can he jump out? He's not shooting. Why did Jordy
shoot the medic, man?
What is he doing?
Oh no! I don't think he realized how low he was. I mean, like maybe he didn't do all the damage, right? I mean, it wasn't called properly, but that is crazy. He just stopped shooting him.
Oh man, you're trying to ameliorate the position for the enemy team as Nicky is in from behind and they haven't spotted him. That is the end result, yet you will suffer from the opposing team's hands. 2 players down as this Troika of Doom, this red Troika of Doom, manages to throw them off their cadence. Ems on the field, only read the kill feed. 2K onto Flick, compassed by Smile. And you see BIGBLOKELAN have slowly gained the advantage on the clock, but DTR want to take it back with a passion.
Yeah, you can, as long as you just get stuck for a try or two in this forward hold, like you can lose so much time. So I'm not too worried here. They're going to try and break it out here with a Pyro. Nice reflect here immediately. And he's definitely created enough space for his team to get out here. And actually, it's worked out perfectly. Oh my god, the funniest ragdoll I've ever seen.
Ems just stuck to the fence, not sitting on the fence, but rather being pinned to the fence.
After doing a cartwheel, yeah.
I don't know, man. They stuck in too far forward. I know it is a little bit of, not even in hindsight, it is post-factional commentary. If you look at what failed and then you say, oh, the impetus wasn't good. I was agreeing on the impetus, but maybe sort of needed to back out earlier there with Jugstar and his team in Tau.
Yeah, they probably should have just gone way back there or had more people because they just got overwhelmed heavily once the Pyro had put them back to it to take out the joke. But we are now moving forward. Time is still ticking down for DTR. Just about to lose the point now, but they come in and contest it. Take down a scout. That's a really big key pick here, but Flick will get taken down in return here. It's actually a crit peak on Flick. I had not seen this. It's pretty rare to see crit peak on Viaduct.
Max very low in HP, and that might help them to instantly initiate back on this point. Warp is addressed on the side. Smile on a 5.
We got a crit, but we got no demo man. It's just going to be a scout crit on Jordan.
Oh, not enough. You only receive a rocket in your face.
Yeah, they just pop you, but they don't want to take any chances.
Pickles is also so weak, might fall in the follow-up aggression. Sale tries to block, but it only is elongating his own respawn timer. He might have just been able to liable for the killbind. Mac tries to chase one pipe, not enough though on Juxta, healing his players forward.
That's disgusting arrows.
Juicy balls.
Yeah, that's just the most incredibly angering thing as an opposing player when someone just getting arrowed and you cannot kill them.
Soldier took 200, no, Soldier took 300, Soldier took 4, whatever, forget about it.
Yeah, he's never gonna die. He's absolutely really horrible stuff to deal with. And time are extremely similar now. It's Danish Time Machine in control.
Warped. Not finding it at the end. Nikki tries to do what Warp could not and initiates onto Pickles. Turns this man into a bunch of bloody bits. Only Juxta really hops around like a bunny rabbit. The initial counter suicidal wave was unleashed, but Juxta keeps himself alive on like 23.
Okay, he's been spotted.
And full Uber as well. They can easily use it to block the point.
Yeah, they just want to deal with him behind lines. They pop on the point, gonna just block that. And there we go. First round to Danish Tyrant Machine. Still pretty messy game overall. You definitely see some funny Ubers and some overextensions going on here, but it seemed like they just held on to the point a little bit better there. And especially the soldier timings coming in from the side. Just doing so much work. Like Nikki, he just does so much good work that he's perfectly timed these bombs to pick off the medic.
I also had the strangest sentiment that this game was so far very dictated by those forward holds. I mean, I was criticizing the Danish Tyrant regime forward hold, but they still came out on top since their players were a little bit more consistent with the deathmatch, and we saw Flick almost always winning a 1v2 against those scouts, and that definitely made it way harder for BIGBLOKELAN to come back in, and no casualties as of yet.
It's going to be a spam war for now. Has to slink back to get the med kit here. And I do like that the scouts are poking forward every once in a while to put some time on the point, just put the pressure on. But no one's really committing so far. Okay, I said that just as one soldier jumped in. Warp is definitely in deep, and we actually have an Uber before the first kill going on. Way longer coming out here.
Jordi has such a much longer Uber duration. Juxta might be caught. No, he's judging. He's having the scout taxi in tow, but it allows the space since you have to take so many resources and commit them forward that eventually Pickles falls to this follow-up aggression since his own players had to tunnel vision. And that, in theory, only resets the Uber stakes. No team, by the way, has kept yet.
Yeah, this is a really long mid-fight. So they have fast respawns, all of them. So we might just see the second mid. I don't know what kind of mid-fight we're on right now, but it's just still going. Is the overall point here. As Giha goes in very aggressively, almost takes down this soldier, not quite getting him though. There we go, Mac getting picked off. I think that might be finally what's going to be the big enough pick to cause them to get the cap point down. And there we go. Mid has been capped after what I was going to say is 3 minutes. It feels like a long
Fingers crossed, Alien wants to stack his stickies and pipes forward, but very eager on the trigger finger and nimble enough of the counter aggression to clear this big demo man out of the picture. We saw earlier that Mech was the main prodigy to fall into disfavor, but DTR capping it, Ems charging in, and that is Pickles once more into the abattoir. I don't want to have a countdown on those terminologies used here, but they're catching out Pickles. For me, it feels like more than Juxta is dying.
Yeah. It's the rockets are clean, the timing is perfect, but also Pickles is just getting picked off here. So perhaps it's time to play a little bit more passively and not extend quite as far in. But Ems with the easiest rockets of his life. Soldier's going to jump in as well. The pressure is pretty good from BIGBLOKELAN here, but just unable to get on the point. It's almost kept.
Wow, the rockets, you have called it out. It's absolutely overcasting. We have a forecast for you tonight. Rockets flung in the sky all the time. And Danish Tyrant regime with this sturdy, this ever-increasing strong coil of a grip on that mid. They haven't let go of it once this round.
Yeah, last round it was all about the forward hold. This time around they're just hanging back and just the point has almost been edged out, but just not quite. And you know, fun fact, if you have almost captured a point, you have not captured a point. So
and it can also tick down, so all your respawn sources are spent for naught. But you see, BIGBLOKELAN is sort of lacking ideas right now, but finally they get the damage onto Alien, which in turn forces Juxta to pop this Uber, and it means Pickles also pops. Oh, Juxta in the sky. Let's see if we can land and prowl up on Pride. There's a soldier in behind though. Alien wants to stick down some more players. Mac falls, and Pickles very low on HP. Juxta is clean up, and finally they win that team fight.
Yeah, that really started with the soldier spam onto the demo man. They had to pop to save him, and he was just not in a position where you could jump in. He had 50 HP. You don't jump as demo man with that. You just get like one shot by a scout. So a really great job here from BIGBLOKELAN to take that, but they're already losing the point again.
Look how fast they're on the conversion rate. It's almost as they had no position at all. Pickles very low on HP, and I like the shift in dynamic where you spam the enemy demo to have your own medic force, because they were trusting to their soldiers, but the soldiers were eventually not really doing it, since the Pride Rock of the DTR side was so much officiated by AMS. But now we see if this follow-up aggression can salvage them, since Ubers are basically equal, and it's full-out deathmatch right now. It is Warp jumping in. Oh, that's another rocket to send Alien straight to Mars.
Yeah, but again, AMS just perfectly timed, takes down Pickles. So yes, they lose the point, but they're going to have a massive Uber advantage, 100%. You cannot get any bigger than this, and there's no medic to heal either. As long as they don't get sticky trapped or have a soldier bomb in onto a medic, you're good. This should be a very quick recap again. I think they're just being very, very quick.
Thanks for that. No, I didn't even know that we could do that. I was looking at the sticky trap, however, and it is, he failed to skip jump there, not really finding it beneath his feet, and Warp is addressed. Juxta has his Uber forced out, but Danish Tyrant regime, I want to go into the meta calls. I don't even have time for that, since it's a non-stop deathmatch fight. Finally, enough players are cleaned up. DTR want to recap this point. Pickens is so far forward. What is he doing in this position when AMS is snapping him and deleting him with a Thanos finger?
It just keeps getting picked off. It's so, like, that wasn't a bad position at all. If they just had Pickles alive, they just go back in and it's a pretty even fight, right? But now they're going to have to deal with this Uber if they're not very quick, or if they fail the first push, then the second push is going to happen before them. Let's go.
You can already see how very constringent they are here. DTR, they are sticking together so very much. I was shedding the highlight on Flick, but Smile is keeping his own team also very good alive. He is controlling the rock. That rock is his, and this very map might be his as well. Pickles only wants to save his locks here because he has no personnel anymore to heal, and we see a tactical pause. I'm not sure if that's the first tactical pause, maybe technical pause of the LAN, but on another level, Danish Tyrant regime right now. I wanted to get the meta talk in. They are so locked in right now.
Yeah, that was very, very, very strong. They just kept holding on to the point, and they were very, very diligent about not overextending. Just kept holding back. Sure, they got a little bit of time onto the point, but yeah, it wasn't actually, like, the point never got capped out, and then they just got so much spam in that they eventually won the fight, or you never got to the point where BIGBLOKELAN felt that they could even take the fight.
It was also a rather big enigma for BIGBLOKELAN, since they were simply not sure anymore how to even tackle this issue, since usually they had so much work cut out for them on Granary with their soldiers, but here when they bombed, Juxta was so far sort of conservatively positioned, and the only real force that were able to plug out there was when they bombed Alien, and Alien was very low on HP, and that sort of forced Juxta in that sense. And we also didn't really see any big off classes making a name for themselves. I mean, Sale was trying, but not accomplished. In that, so I don't know if was that a difficulty of not having enough space, or how did you monitor that?
I don't know. I feel like scouts were playing fine. Like when the fights were chaotic and things were being damaged, I think he did a great job of cleaning up. So I don't feel like it's the scout difference. I feel like it's the soldier difference. Specifically, the soldiers are really good at jumping in from DTR and picking off Pickles. We don't have logs yet, obviously, but I feel like Pickles has died about 10 times.
We had the little sausage stat here. Not sure if that may be indicative. Maybe also, I was alluding to it earlier, this is where the crash sort of happens, not only in-game, maybe also.
That could be what's happening right now. It's just the actual mental crash of Pickles. He's like, oh, right, I should have just gone out. I was just...
He's phasing out like, oh, I'm awake. Oh, what, 10 deaths? Yeah, well, just handicap, you know?
Do you think he just, like, blinked and then he woke up and he had 10 deaths? That's what happened? I wouldn't be surprised. That's
But I was also trying to shed the raking light more and turn it into a highlight onto those DTR, also onto these DTR scouts. I was very impressed by them, honestly. Whenever we saw Flick, who is a little bit more positioned on the flank, he was causing so much trouble for Sale and Jordi. He almost even won 1v2s when they had heals. And even if you don't win that fight, that is so much attention span you take off the enemy team. And then on other compartments, Smile Smile was so very suppressive with his fire. They couldn't bomb in.
Yeah. It was a really good job by DTR as a whole to just shut down the bombers. They never really had problems with soldiers jumping behind or like soldiers doing too much damage and overwhelming the entire team. And that's usually how you lose Viaduct in my experience. It's just like the soldiers go behind or cause too much trouble and then you lose. But yeah, they haven't really been able to get in. But I almost do want to see the big bloke soldiers maybe try and jump in behind, right? Because they've been very direct, right? They want to get on, they want to do damage and spam out. But maybe it's time to just go behind and be annoying little shits, right? Just be back there annoying, causing your attention to be split. And then at some point when you least want to, you have to just turn around and actually deal with them.
What can I say? They are very direct blokes as Red wins. You see it here on your screen. It was a little bit delayed in terms of time, and maybe we also have ice skating players, but do not worry, as this also is 90 seconds in the future only. I know we don't have
10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds is the time delay. I'm used a little bit more to offline tournaments sometimes, but 2-0 up, we see a spy in spawn. Don't worry, Flick will change up in a nick of time since this
I don't
compartment.
think Sale will will switch off in the nick of time. I think he's just going to stay on Sniper. And again, this is an interesting thing here. No, Bloke actually switched to Scout. Okay, I was going to say, it's very weird to switch off a Scout.
Ems is on Sniper as well.
Ooh, okay. I was not expecting this. The Ems Sniper, you don't see it often.
We will have a 1v1 showdown on the longest rooting for them, shooting marksman after all. Ems, yes, finds the initial frag, and now you're inaugurated to the mid-fight. It is Nikki in behind, jumping upon and jumping onto Sail.
Nice.
Oh, set Sail, and again into the distance. The wind was turned into a rather big squall, and that nets the very first mid-fight win.
And that is how you deal with a sniper, right? You jump in, soldier in behind. And now Am's going to have some really nice sightline. Misses that one. He's going to move back here. But they constantly have to be wary here in BIGBLOKELAN to walk into any kind of sightline. This is a very oppressive thing to play against.
Sail, 150 damage body shot, but snipers do say Scout took headshot, even though it's only fully shot body shot, but doesn't matter. Now Juxta can Uber way later, has to multi, but should still be alright in terms of the Uber duration. And it is Nikki jumping in behind. We called about it earlier, maybe opening up another flanks out rather instead. And they want to migrate here to this point. Mac is dealt with, and even if they kept now, they lost all their fighting force.
Nice
Alien.
Yeah, we're gonna actually, it's still a pretty even fight here. Juxta, he's still giving out full buffs here for him, so he should eventually win the sniper duel because Sale has no buff at all. It's just a body shot away from losing, basically. And what wins that sort of duel against Nikki? Nikki has been playing really well this round, but now it's a Scout 1v1, but there's also a sniper just constantly interfering with this. And there we go, interference successful as Ams hits another body shot, takes down the demo man, 150 damage, easy peasy. He's going to move forward. He's going to cap out the point again, and it's been a better round for BIGBLOKELAN. It's been more back and forth, but yeah.
Oh, almost finds the follow-up damage. Cell was set on China, but was not able to peek here. Oh, it's still the 1v1 sniper battle, but you see DTR is already racing into the advantage time-wise, even though BIGBLOKELAN were able to cap it once, but this is only really helping DTR.
Sale needs to hit some shots, and he does indeed. Alien going down. Now the road is clear. You can move forward here as BIGBLOKELAN, and they're going to do just that. They're going to put time on the point, and there we go. Ubers have been exchanged. They don't want to give them any more time on this point, but let's see if we get some soldiers jumping.
It was a very safe trade, but Warped might, yes, snuck in through this little gap that they have left in their own armor, and that dent is only ever increasing incrementally, being taken out of their hands as Sale has his body shot friend in Tau. Ems falling down, simmering that through his to the ground, but finally, BIGBLOKELAN have found some sort of success formula.
Yeah, eventually they won out there, and it might just be a better game for them here, the sniper gameplay, because you get some, you lose some, right? It just depends on do you hit some shots, and then once you hit some shots, you win a little bit. And that gives you more room.
Pickles has super advantage, but Pickles has also to deal with Amps and condone with him as Smile wants to follow up. They were realizing, yeah, we have an uber disadvantageous position to deal with and address Flick. Flick sort of flicks around like 24/7. Yeah, I just take Sail and leave out, and they don't even cap the point since they wanted to have all of their personnel respawn. Meg wants to lob the pipes forward. Nikki is addressed on the flank, and now the players are falling in their disfavor. Pickles so low on HP. Flick ultimately, well, wall shot down.
Yeah, Am's going to chase down Warped as well. No escape for Yukud, so have a nice little picnic in the respawn queue. And now they're setting up forward. Alien wants to set up some sneaky traps here, but I think they're going to have trouble actually holding on to this point. The respawners definitely favor BIGBLOKELAN, and they're going to Uber in here, but oh no, Jordy gets dropped from the Uber.
That is not the committal that you want to see. You want to have your players committed, but well, the focus fire and the communication was a bit off. That is a drive-by high five of those soldiers. There we go. Let's meet in the next 5 minutes again. That was fantastic. 10 out of 10 stars. And now Ems, though, dominates Warp. They are increasing their iron grip on the front. Nikki is jumping in. Oh, another air shot. This is the highlight reel. It feels like, oh, it is the Pickles.
Yeah, he's not getting out of that door. He's just getting bounced around. Bloke's going to just impale himself on the demo man as well. Unable to get the kill, but maybe he softens his up a little bit here. Sail can do something. There's a scout on the flank as well, trying to be sneaky. Not really going to be able to get in here. Again, time is ticking down for a Danish Tyrant machine. It is slowly but surely getting too late. But BIGBLOKELAN, they're going to have one more push in them here. We were almost there for Jockey though. They need to be so careful. Flick getting picked. That's a really nice job here out of the sniper bot.
And it's overtime that they have to play with. Alien is flashed and finds the very crucial pipe since Pickles did not have Uber yet. Perpendicular dominance right now for the blue team, but those are the only two stragglers left alive. Warped and Bloke on the front line. 3-0 to Danish Tyrant regime. A very foul, a very, very foul taunt. I'm not sure if you can see that into the wall. Goodbye. But I'm not sure if anyone predicted a 3-0 there for DTR.
No, that was the map pick of BIGBLOKELAN, right? So that makes 0 sense to me.
That's why I said I'm not even trying to guess why they're picking these maps.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the logic doesn't really follow, but the sniper play didn't really have that much of an impact. It was I like that they tried to switch to sniper at the end there, because they were losing 2 rounds, right? So you want to switch it up and go sniper, and then we saw the counter sniper as well coming out of DTR. So yeah, they mixed it up, but DTR is way too solid on this map, and I guess Flick and Smile win the contest for the best scout combo. But do you know what? Let's stop yapping and send it to the desk if they are
to
ready.
The professional yappers.
Do we have working mics? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me from the other side? Hi, I'm TurboTabs. Joining me again is Condawg, and we've got Not Steven as well. Welcome, gentlemen. We had a little switcheroo this time. This time we sent you over to Danish Tyrant regime, and we sent you over to the boys, the BIGBLOKELAN.
Turbo, we've clearly got the lucky charm over here. We should send him to every team that we want to follow the script, obviously, you know. Yeah, bit of a reversal from what we had in map 1. I don't know what were the vibes like over in Danish Tyrant regime, because
yes, do tell me.
Yes, please.
They were good. Yeah, no, I think everyone was pretty locked in, I think were the main things. There was no blame games going on, but I don't think there was much to blame for a product map. They played that pretty solidly. They were kind of getting away with murder a lot of times, I feel like, managing to get onto Pickles when they just really shouldn't have been able to, which was a bit tragic. But no, they're pretty happy. So, I don't know. DTR, maybe it was just the map reset, had a little chill time. They had that little pause break as well to let Smile go for a pee. I thought, you know, that makes you less powerful when you do that. I thought holding it in gave you that extra power, but apparently not, because he played just as well. And yeah, I mean, Smile hard comming in that team as well. I swear he's like 75% of the calls, but yeah, it was good overall.
All right, Condawg, you toxic man. How did you infect poor BIGBLOKELAN this time?
Infect, I mean, We were stood behind them, Turbo.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
me as well, but I'm sufficiently blaming you at this point.
There was some tension in the room.
Oh God, was there tension?
I mean, we don't dare say on stream what happens, do we?
Look, okay, you know what? I discovered content and all this. Like, they had attack pause,
They did.
and there's not many times that a caster's on the fly on the wall in these sort of situations, so
absolutely
we
not.
were there. Now, interestingly, obviously, they have audiences, these players, so we're not just the only people there. We've got spectators, and they're just as quizzical as well. It's like, what's going wrong? What are they doing wrong? What's the little whispers and all this stuff? And it must get to you as a player.
Oh,
Isn't
it
that
does.
right,
It
Condawg?
does, Turbo. It does. And then Mac really lost his cool. He really did. He turned around and he just unleashed on one of the poor spectators. I don't care what you think, I believe were the choice words. It was wow. I mean, the room went deadly quiet, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know about you, Turbo.
I mean, I'm going to give him, obviously, it's benefit of the doubt. It is our boy Mac. He's probably just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I just teared into one of these guys here? But it's all right. It's okay. They did make adjustments, but a brilliant move, I thought, was Danish Tyrant regime then whipped out the sniper during that attack pause. So it almost validated a lot of their adjustments there, Condawg.
Yeah, I mean, Sail tried to go, they thought, let's tack pause, round 3, let's bring out Sail Sniper. And then seemed to just turn up on his own sniper. And I don't know if there was really much of a sniper duel, but the pressure, I mean, as we're looking at the logs on screen, Alien Smiley dropping some absolute... Wait, they got top DPM together? Flick.
What?
That's crazy.
Oh
Look
my
at the
God, they're
damage
2
differential.
damage apart.
But
Well,
Look
Flick.
at the kills, though, Turbo. Look at the
Yeah.
kills. The kills between them is crazy.
Yeah, well, I guess it goes to show that we were seeing a lot of that, at least on our side. But did it look like on your side, Stephen, that Alien Smiley was just taking over the game?
It didn't look like he was doing anything crazy, to be honest. I think he was just playing really consistent, wasn't ever going into those sniper sight lines on the 3rd round, and just really valued his life and played around with his medic well. But I think you have to look here at the Flick diff. I was saying it before, if Flick doesn't troll, he just goes crazy. Like, he was just doing bits, man. I don't understand what was happening, because I would be watching back on Smiles cam. He's like as out can be, and Flick is just in on point and gets 2 kills, and then they can't cap the point because they can't delay. And he was just doing absolute work. Ams was talking some shit about how he's going for like 15 to 8, calling them massive noobs. Let him go positive on Soldier, and then they kind of read them like a book on that 3rd round, because they were talking about, they're just gonna go sniper, guys. Like, they knew exactly what was gonna happen. And then Arms was like, guys, I'm not gonna hit anything but body shots, but I'll go sniper if you want me to. And it kind of worked out, because they were just cooking, and it worked out well. And then I think they switched back to that Soldier at the right time as well.
Condawg, talk to me about these problems on this Viaduct map, because it's a map where something could be going wrong and then little clumsy little other mistakes just rear their head in, because it just seems like constant actions just happening, and it seemed to be poor Piggles seemed to be at the butt end of it.
Yeah, Pickles was definitely struggling. He was sort of taking the brunt of a lot of these things. I mean, Geordie plays this kind of style where the team is around him. Geordie is the main man on that team. Everyone thinks it's Mac, everyone thinks it's Piggles, but it's Geordie. He's making all the big calls. He's asking for the bombs, and the team, they listen to him as well. This is the Geordie team, not the Mac team, in my eyes. Piggles was definitely struggling a little bit, but I don't know.
I think it was just the pressure cooker. Like, you had things going wrong, and then you obviously saw these silly mistakes. You could even see these players, like Piggles was going out. It's like, why did I, stick around with you? Why did I stay with you here? And, points and moments where, like, Sayo would ride around. It's like, I want some heals, when really, I don't think he could really justify the heals. I mean, you're a sniper in, like, the corner. What are you going to do, kid?
But Turbo, we also have to mention there was a little heart-to-heart during the attack pause. Warp was like, I'm just struggling here, guys. I'm not hitting the rockets I'm used to hitting. And the team were around him. The morale, just because they lost the map doesn't mean it's low. They're going to pick themselves back up. I think we're going to Sunshine next map. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. So it will be Sunshine next. And on the bright side, if we have to huff some copium here for our boys in on BIGBLOKELAN, they did discover that they're not too hot at this King of the Hill in this section of the upper bracket. And that's got to be a healthy thing, right, Stephen? Finding out your weaknesses?
Yeah, I think possibly. But you want to win this game, and now it's finding it a little bit more scary. But maybe it was that they didn't get to play KOF yesterday. That would be my copium if I was them. I was like, guys, we couldn't play it in the groups. How could we know we're not good on LAN on KOF all of a sudden? How could we know DTR are so good? They couldn't have scouted it out, really. So maybe a little bit of a mispick in the veto, but I think they definitely looked better on that first map. And coming into Sunshine, it's a 5 CP map. It's a completely different way of playing. You can really slow things down. And, you know, Big Bloke season, we can't forget they did take the game from Witness, the only team to do it so far at LAN. And that was on 5 CP where they slowed it down real hard. So I think if they kind of play their own game, I think there's no reason they can't take this third map.
Condawg, BIGBLOKELAN have 5 CP, but Danish Tyrant regime, they have the momentum. Which one seems a bit more powerful?
I mean, I think the mindset is definitely a big one. You know, you got to be calm, cool, and collected going into your third map. But I think that's with both teams. Honestly, like I've just seen on the screen over there, BIGBLOKELAN, they're doing some spy crabs in the pre-game. You know, they're excited. They know they're here to play. They're problem solvers. You know, they're going to work this out. As we said, they're very good at their 5 CP. We saw them yesterday on Snake Quarter, but Sunshine is not Snake Quarter. It's DTR all the way, baby. This is going to be a lovely little 4-2 sweep for DTR. I can promise you that.
What about you, Stephen? Can you give me a scoreline to match?
I mean, you say it's not Snake Water, but this last is just as bad. If they can hold this last, the pyro and the gun, the banners, oh, it's devious stuff here. While I think DTR did play very well, I think it's just such a different scenario coming in. I don't think you can really play the same play style they were kind of playing there, where Flick was just getting in and doing stuff he shouldn't. I think there's always going to be people watching out for him a bit more, and I think, you know, if they're going to take anything from what they saw, they need to lock down Flick, and I think if they do that, I'm saying it's going towards the Blades. I think it's going to be a bit of a slower one. I reckon it's a 2-0 towards the Blokes.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here, and I'm going to say we're going to be stuck at last, and there's going to be no winners here. The spectators are going to be suffering. They're going to be suffering. We're all going to suffer here because we're going to be in a big lockdown on last, and it's going to go to a golden cap.
We do have golden caps.
Golden caps are back, baby.
Well, not that we want golden caps turbo. We don't like golden caps. I'm more of a let's get it over in 30. You know, I enjoy the cough side of things. But yeah, they are back. Obviously, we didn't have them in the group stages. But it's not going to golden cap. What, you think like a 0-0 kind of situation?
100% 0-0, I think.
Right, let's get rid of him as soon as we can. Don't worry, gang. We'll be turfing him out right after the segment.
We'll have a tactical mic turn off. I think we'll throw it back to our casters, and we'll see what their opinions are about on this new 5 CP map. Boys, who's going to win it?
Thank you for all that positivity, Turbo. We really appreciate it. You think we're all here to suffer? Okay. No, I think it's going to be a good game. I think I favor DTR after the map win. I think 3-0 is enough momentum that's going to carry them through. And Ams is just being like an absolute shit in chat. So that might get to their head.
I mean, that is also, I think they are both trading out quite with the smack talk. Yeah. We couldn't open that because otherwise our Twitch privileges would be a little bit in jeopardy. But Ams is a sunny boy. I think all the players are sunny boys as well. And I'm locked here in the LAN area, but the weather forecast says we're entering sunshine. And we heard it here, maybe last stalemates coming out. I'm also tending a bit toward that prediction, but I'm even guessing that DTR might be the ones that want to break those sort of stalemates and sort of flip it on its head, because you might think, oh, BIGBLOKELAN, you know, they have these sort of memers on their side and they want to break stalemates, but guesswork is over.
Yeah, we will find out very soon here as we go to the first mid. Can Pickles overcome his struggles? Will he get picked off over and over again? Will Flick continue his reign of dominance? Only time will tell here as we go on to our first mid.
He should rename himself to Pick Less, than he's one pick less if they keep continuing the pressure on him. The pressure cook, now Mac already spams very, very far stickies and is Bloke sort of like setting into his own endemic environment, into the respawn queue. Nikki now initiates on to the demo man, and it is a 2-for-1 trade. Looks into the advantage here of Danish Tyrant regime.
Yeah, walk with the big bomb in, unable to get the medic there. Juxta is well protected. The second scout not going to be able to find much here, I don't think. No, that was a hopeless job. And this first mid looks like it's going to go to Danish Tyrant regime. They're going to continue their momentum, but Pickles did survive. They're fine on BIGBLOKE. This is not a disaster at all. As long as they don't do something rash and overzealous, they'll be fine.
It was also very interesting to monitor this mid-fight as it dragged on so very methodically. You saw Mac was spamming stickies from far away, but then he was picked. Danish Tyrant regime was backing out through the choke, re-healing since realizing, yeah, we have a player advantage. After all, Nikki spots the stickies, and now they are right now in this, behind the steering wheel in the driver, where they're making their driver's license here, but they're in the driving seat after all. Some consequential damage, but not really enough.
No, they're just poking right now, see if they can get a soldier in deep enough without having him be too hurt so that he can jump in. So far, they have been unable to find that good spam coming out from Mac.
302 damage?
Oh my god, that was just the carpet of stickies just all of a sudden coming in here. Demoman down, that's going to be a huge opportunity here. Ubers have been popped, and Nikki will actually go down there, unable to land on a med kit. But obviously, this should still favor TTR here. But let's see if Warp can come in.
Warp wants to have a savory Juxta to gobble up, and eventually it was a little bit not set in stone there, since the height advantage, the position advantage was set for Danish Tyrant regime. But the problem is, those players, the soldiers, were coming in from BIGBLOKELAN.
Yeah, it's just Smiler alive. I think he has to get out here. He's been spotted. They know exactly where he is. So eventually, BIGBLOKELAN, they do manage to win that fight. They got Juxta pretty weak, and then Warp just swooped in at the perfect time, took him down, and eventually Mac actually came back in the fight, and they managed to win it out. So we've got basically another mid-fight in us here, as Nicky's going to play on this high ground, but he's been forced back, and it just really looks like everyone from these guys team pushed out.
But I already see a high bomb into Flower, but they're chasing it. Two players chase Bloke, and as you saw, they're a little bit on the side way of living, and it eventually secures BIGBLOKELAN capping that midpoint. You saw how Nicky wanted to control the bell tower, but the only bell that was rung was his head, and he was, well, after that only really leaving. Nicky, a demo completely alone mech through choke. He was trying to watch what players wanted to jump in, but sort of had his FOV onto 70 or something, but yeah, I mean, no demo man makes it very difficult.
Yeah,
they drop all of their players though.
Yeah, Warp got the Uber. This is the rare soldier Uber, and it's working out really well here as they're just moving forward. They cannot stay and fight here. Alien's just going to have to retreat, set up some sticky traps, and there we go. Right now, BIGBLOKELAN, they've just basically been out DMing them. They've just been bullying them out, and it's definitely looking like they're back here. Obviously, they still need to make these pushes work. It's still even Ubers. There's a sentry gun going off. There's a pyro.
Do you remember what I said about Flick? He's such a niche pyro. He's such a niche spy. He's also such a niche pyro on the very niche flamethrower, the Napalm Annihilator, I do think. But Warped is annihilated. And at the end, it's only one solo soldier sack. That's a very difficult terminology to use in that sense.
Twister. Yeah.
But the only one who was really twisted was Warped against Nicky, and now it is a Flick on the front. Really, only then is reflected.
Demoman almost gets picked off there. Am's doing a ton of damage. He doesn't have a banner on or anything, so this damage will not really have much of a consequence. It's actually the tiniest of Uber adds here, but yeah, this is basically the 7-hold with the sentry gun and the pyro. Very, very difficult to deal with. Oh, the sentry gun somehow gets the Demoman.
Is that mech attack? Mech attack reloaded. M's reloaded. One doesn't find the second one. At least he was looking at the sky because he is trusting into his own capabilities. But Sail is already charging through the left side and wants to have his eyes set straight for the red team. But in the end, in the grand scheme of things, nothing really changed.
Yeah, we have another bomb in there from the soldier, gets immediately picked off. So I think this is the time where we need to really pay attention to. Do they have man threats? Are they going to send a scout back to go sniper? That kind of stuff. It's we're entering gimmick mode right now, and that is man threats. Okay, got it.
Would you look at those?
Yeah, glorious thick leather boots. If you ever put those on, you cannot be pushed around by sentry guns. So you get to jump in really cleanly. However, you will take full damage from your jumps.
Trample down what tramples you down, and maybe you can trample the enemy team here. They're not really sure who should take the brunt of this buff. It was onto Warped early enough. Now Bloke is receiving this very juicy healing beam, and there are stickies a little bit set intermittently on the top left and on this little dungeon area, but no one is really incarcerated as Bloke is jumping in. No, sorry, Warped is jumping in. Now Bloke is jumping in, but...
Oh, that one stick. I don't know how Alien keeps just having that one perfect sticky every single time. Completely shut down that jump in there. And yeah, I mean, I'll give them credit for trying. So both soldiers died now. They can both go man-treads. And we'll see. They could also, I guess they don't have time for a banner quite yet. But yeah.
Flick on Australian sniper rifle,
right.
Sail on upper hand. We have like Counter-Strike versus very niche off-class shenanigan, Wonder and Prodigy person.
Yeah.
It is Warped being tanked a little bit, but it's probably going to be the 1v1 sniper show, never mind. Well, they've switched off of it on the red squadron.
Yeah. We have one soldier on the gunboat, and then it's left once again on the man-tread. So I think they're probably going to try and do what they did before, where they send in Warp first as the distraction, and then they send in the second soldier with the man-tread.
Find the sniper rifle sideline. He is slowly peeking. No, that's a pipe. That's yummy. But he's not really even getting anything off that. That is the 5 CP Sunshine experience.
Yeah, you just go in there, and then all of a sudden you're killed. But here we go.
Or you stick it, or you're Sedrigant, or you're just all off.
Oh my god, Jordy dies as well. This is a 4-man sack. It's just Warp.
And I think Ems wants to chase here, and Pickles is completely caught out. Oh, the follow-up rocket does not hit the face, but he's so much cramped up into his own cafe area, has to drink that cafe in disquiet, and caffeinating is not on the field here, since they have to iron out their mistakes. Juxta is not in jeopardy. They are...
Oh, they're just going for the round reset. They don't want this second point.
What?
Yeah, they don't care. They just want the round reset. That's way safer. That's what they're saying.
Welcome to Europe.
Yeah. All right, Warp's in. Can he make a big play? It looks like the answer is no. Bloke, however, also does get the play.
He destroys the main recipient of that entire Uber. It's only a force, so you can't even push out concurrently. Flick, 1v1, 1v2, 1v3. He is always culling this aggression in its tracks, but now it's only 30 seconds to tick down.
30 seconds to make a big play. They will have an Uber in time. However, I think they have time to go in, get the Uber exchange, and then do a big fight. And if that doesn't work, then too bad, time's out. But we shall see here. They are just waiting for the Uber. Okay, they're going to come in here. Uber in the demo man actually gets body blocked quite a bit here. Sentigon has not been dealt with yet. It is only a level 1 though, so there you go. Sentigon's dealt with, but Juxta...
Now guns unlocked. We have to watch if they get enough cap time here. Already scaring off the other players, but it might reset. You have overtime to play with, and there are so many people falling, but it is eventually in the advantage at the advent of the entire point.
Taunt. Oh, they didn't taunt. So would they actually push now?
Now they're pushing.
Oh, I guess they're just like, okay, Medic's dead. This is a bigger advantage. We can get mid and have a bigger advantage than going for a mid fight. So we actually don't get the round reset here. That's interesting decision making right there. I thought they had a pretty big ad before as well. But I guess
Warp is jumping into the choke, but he is destroying 2 kits already, and that entire notion is thwarted. And you only have to look at your bloody pelts bits in the choke. That is signaling DTR to back out.
Yeah, maybe they're regretting not just taking the mid fight now. They still have the Uber ad. They're going to pop it now. Demoman's caught in for sure. Goes down pretty cleanly. They get nothing else. However, a 1 Demoman pick is enough to just keep going into mid with. So I think that's what we're going to see here. Soldiers on the flank now, getting ready to jump in and buy space. But they're being quite slow about it. Okay, there we go. Am's going to take the charge. Going to be the first distraction in. Nick going to jump in as well, try to create space, but they're actually just being stuffed super hard right now. And
they wanted to take the fight to them since they realized Pickles has this full Uber advantage and sort of open up the flanks and bank on the fact that you probably spawn in a timely fashion for yourself, at least to defend the last point, since the second point is not of any contention whatsoever, and it is only really Flick respawning now. Mac comes through dungeon. Can he incarcerate anyone? As the turnkey, he is already jailing Alien in his cabinet.
And the demo man down, that means they can put pressure on the point. Look, it's absolutely floated in the air.
They haven't kept second.
Yeah, not capping second there that's gonna really complicate things because you can't just hide in spawn. That's like a Dinky's house push almost, just forgetting second. And it's still not capped out. They never capped it out at all. So this is going super back and forth. We thought we were going for a round reset, but instead we're just getting full-on chaos. Lots of pushing. We're basically back to the Granary game.
But the blue respawners are also very far away, only entering the mid-fight as we speak, so they're very much passively set onto their own well, in their own Tetris area. Both soldiers jump behind because they see the back cap shenanigan is a very available option here. Right now, 2 players on that mid, or on the second. Only 6 HP on Warped, cleaned up at the end. Juxta has a full 100% Uber, but I feel like they were able to sort of tranquilize this Jeopardy. Could have been way worse for the Danish Tyrant regime.
Yeah, they've been pushing so many times now. Well, we really are entering the same period where whenever the team goes through a choke, they just get absolutely nuked and annihilated over and over again. Smile gets the Uber Force out, gets slightly better Uber. This soldier is going to escape. He goes to his medic. Let's see if Smile can make anything of the tail end of this Uber. The answer is no. Everyone's just going to get out. We're going to get a reset here. And he did a nice little speed jump there. That was so unnecessary, but it looked real cool. I'll give him that.
It's also interesting how both teams are sometimes a little bit prone to impetuous play, you might say, abstractly speaking, but looking at this very concrete match and game, they are realizing their own forties and their own well, uber advantageous positions, so they're sort of rather playing it safe, better safe than sorry.
Very true. Even Ubers, they're just going to sit back and buffs eventually, I assume, are going to pay off. But right now, they're just looking. They're just waiting for Lee to come in.
They're retaining, let's say, if they're sustaining, and might even from this very perilous position be attaining as a Jordi wants to charge through. Let's see if it will be the Jordi show or the Jordi show. And Bloke is already jumping in now. It created the space, but the flower, well, say it with flowers, but that sort of suicide wave did not work out.
No, he got it. He didn't get in far enough at all. He didn't get enough speed. I don't know if he missed the duck tap or whatever, or he just jumped from too far away. But he didn't get in as deep as he wanted to. Not a big deal though. He's gonna come back. Probably, yeah, he's on gunboats. So I think we're just gonna go for another round.
They're trying to pin the stickies onto Juxta. You want to pre-damage that medic, so when a soldier flies in, it only takes 1 rocket, and there we go. As I say that, 1 rocket, perfect. 2 rockets! And that is enough to force out Juxta. Would have dropped 100% if he did not pop that Uber charge. And now this follow-up aggression is full in swing!
That is just excellent bomb in there from Mac. Takes him down perfectly.
Smile
But Smile's on the flank. Oh my god.
Just a third!
Demolishes everyone.
Oh my god, that was the fantastic Smile flank coming in, expecting it from Flick prior to that entire engagement, but crazy how wonderfully played out that look for BIGBLOKELAN, but like 10 seconds later, you're devastated.
Nicky goes on a bit of an adventure there to the enemy forward spawn, and he dies. So unnecessary death there from him. Got a little too cheeky here. But speaking of cheeky, we've got Juxta on the Kritzkrieg, and this is, it makes sense, but you usually don't see it on this point. Both medics spawned at around roughly the same time, and the Kritzkrieg builds 10 seconds faster than the Uber charge. So you have about a 10-second window to utilize this before you just get Ubered on.
It is also very helpful to have this in mind, that this might not be the most clear-cut position to expect the switch up to the crit, so it might work out in their favor if they don't haven't spotted it yet. It's only 20% well, advantage as we speak. Alien is eyeing up the Kritzkrieg. It is flying through, but is not.
So close. Gets the demo man though. It's not over yet.
It's not over until the Fat Lady sinks and Pickle's still in the corner. Can he beam it up to full fitness? He swung into the sky. Finally lands.
Oh man, that was so close. Flick's on 1 HP, by the way. All right, okay, he's gonna get that, and Sail goes down, but Pickle's very much alive here. So, yeah, Kritzkrieg not quite able to work out there. That first sticky or second sticky was so close.
Does Flick think he's on spy here? I mean, he's still scout
It's the
man.
Flick spy, it's back.
But he has a scattergun in his hand, so very lethal instead. Only really scares out the players since the respawn timer was favoring DTR. They had respawns in a timely fashion, and now Mac spams toward that cafe area, and it forces them out.
Nicky again jumps in very aggressively. He's all alone here, but Am's taking down Mac. That's really nice. They're just trying to spread them out here. This is all chaos. And they might decide to come back in if they're being super cheeky and they want to get onto the medic here, but no. They have Amps behind lines. He might try to time this out. Maybe he's going to go for a spawn camp.
Huge damage onto the pocket scout though, and maybe Alien even keeps
oh
alive.
My God. I think there was a massive air pipe coming out.
Oh, that's
of A.
crazy though. I mean, the utilization of this Smile Scout here means they have such a much longer Uber duration and that the 3K already, and he's scaring out the other 2 Scouts. It is very fearful for them since he's fully buffed and he's just peppering the mech very low.
Yeah, and just a reminder, everyone, it's still 0-0. we have no points so far in this game, so any round is going to be highly significant. The analysts were correct. It is going to be a slow game. I wouldn't call it suffering TurboTaps, but yeah, this is definitely not as fast as the other games.
Some people might be suffering, but that is only in terms of a death match compartment. Ems wants to create another opening, and Piggles shot down to half HP. Ems landing up so perfectly onto Piggles. Squeak once, squeak twice, but I'm blowing down the 3rd house as well. And now, I think the first time even, DTR being on the advent and on the doorstep of BIGBLOKELAN last point.
Yes, they do need to wait for their respawners here for quite a long time. Everyone needs to make it in here. All right, don't peek, don't peek, don't do it. Oh my god. Oh, it would really ruin everything if he gets picked off here. I hate this kind of aggression from Alien. Please. Just get your heals and then go.
You need another weapon, especially for Ems, just a leash to put on your players so they don't overcommit, they don't ruin your over percentage situation. They pop onto 3 players here. The Troika of Doom deals with the mechanical warden of the sentry gun, turned into scrap and bolts. Alien now sticks down the right side of the spawn. They can't even leave anymore. So much cap time is already coming in. Can they leave though? Can they find salvation? Trying to leave the premises. Nicky onto Piggles, but he misses the point blank rocket.
Yeah, no, I actually think he did hit it. It just didn't do quite enough damage here. So Nicky just gonna hide in the
He
corner.
can redeem himself.
Somehow wins that soldier duel. Well, it's a tie. But either way, great hold coming up for BIGBLOKELAN. We are not getting any points so far. We just cannot see it. And now it's going to be a massive Uber advantage here for Piggles. We have the sniper flick. I think, is he? Yeah, he's in spawn, right? So he's just going to switch off. Yeah. He has not set a foot out. As long as you stay inside the spawn and you don't let the door close.
But we see a jump on the flank coming in. Piggles on 70 HP. He is not trusting into his teammates. Olan, jittery. And now he has some players still to beam and still to Uber on. But it is now a 30% Uber advantage that is engineered into Juxta's Medigun. And we have been able to see that they are very much made available by those heals, by those familiar heals, and putting them onto the right targets. Also on this last push, by the way, we saw them simply just not finding the damage to remedy the situation, but maybe they can do it now.
Indeed. It's a seesaw situation. Ubers are staggered. You have about a 50% Uber. Actually, it's not as big as I thought. Piggles is really building fast compared to Juxta. But I do expect them to try and come in here. At the very least, bully.
The sticky is just not diffused, and then Piggles is someone who suffers from his own familiar demo man, not watching his sticky trap. Another piglet down. Please send your hopes and prayers. But it eventually is giving Danish Tyrant, which I feel like we're in the same repeating slideshow.
Yeah, it's we've been here before, haven't we? We've got the Piggles on crit squeak on last this time around. We've seen that before as well. Maybe not this game, but yeah. This should be a very good info. Wants to go behind lines. Actually, wants it very far forward as well. I'm very surprised at how aggressively they're playing this on BIGBLOKE. They might be throwing it all the way right now. They're just being too aggressive. They're being too keen to try and make a big play. But at the end of the day, I think they're just experiencing their own demise.
Sale was staying alive for such a prolonged period of time, way longer than he had any right to do. Mech is also falling. That's very certainly a round for Danish Tyrant regime, breaking the 20-minute curse, but you can also throw an air shot in there. Why not just get an air shot in there at the end? That was what we just see here, the highlight reel, like those amazing sticky traps always coming in from Alien. It took us some time. We finally got there.
He put down the red carpet and yeah, he exploded the demo man there. But sometimes that works out. I can't believe he got down that many stickies without Mac noticing. But yeah, I really feel like that was almost a throw by BIGBLOKELAN. They got way too aggressive, way too keen to go out there, and they just kept bleeding players, and it wasn't even a proper last position. But we're on another mid here. An aggressive jump in from Ems.
So fast! I'm so fast onto Piggles. That is the sort of deja vu of that very first mid fight, but Bloke can respond in kind indeed. One man only though in the blue colors here, trying to assemble some sort of order. back into it, but it is not enough. Full wipe on your screen, and wow, that is already a much better predisposition for DTR than we saw in the previous round.
Yeah, very explosive mid compared to what we've seen all the other ones. Nicky's pretty far forward. Actually goes for the demo man. Does take him down. That's a really nice pick. And he's still behind lines, causing trouble here. And yeah, there we go. He's going to eventually be picked off. But look at that. That was basically him winning second because he was just causing so much chaos on the back lines.
It's the passive it is the passive presence that you really have to address, and now we see this confluence here, confluencing on that little side flank. Flick is forward, and they're shooting some players apart, but only really missing Amps. Warped is now equalized as a frag, but I feel like this Uber fight and this push is called off.
Yeah, you don't want to stay in this front lobby. There's a very popular play where you send in 2 soldiers into this lobby and you get nuked. There's so much damage there to be done. So if you're too far forward, you're probably going to get crushed in there. So they're just going to wait until they have everyone back up, and then they're going to move back in and take this ground, and now they can reset and try and spam down the center gun, send in some soldiers, maybe pick off a couple of players on the thing. Whatever they want to do, they now have the tool to do so.
Whatever route they want to take, as this joint venture of success could be Alien spams from the left, and they try to walk in from the right, but you see this level 2 sentry gun very readily set up, and Bloke spamming from the top right area as well. As this is very cookie cutter right now, and Nicky wants to eye up if he can do something from the lower left area. I do agree on this play, since you create another opening for Ems to bump in.
Oh, Ems timed that so perfectly. Somehow made it outside of the sentry gun's range there, but not quite able to get there at the very end. It's just going to be 2 players holding here, basically. It's Alien and Smile. And he's not even Alien Smile. I just realized that. Is that why he changed to Alien instead of Alien Smiley? Because he already had the Smile on his team?
You know, I don't know. Mac is on the second point here. Not really a clear-cut fight. Well, it is perfect for Pickles, who can pop so much later. It's like twice the Uber duration, but the problem is you don't have the personnel. You're going to back out of it. And DTR still trying to scrap their last hopes of, well, pushing the last point even back together. Smile is onto last. Can he, yes, claim so much cap time? It enables his players to work. And Smile is still on full HP. How does he do it? Maximize your efforts, minimize their hopes, atomize their team.
The Smile flanks are real. I feel like every time DTR have success is because Smile has just done the Giga flank, and that just caused so much chaos. And also, again, BIGBLOKELAN, they were pushing into the lobby there very aggressively, and they got punished so hard for it. So both times that they've lost, it's been because they've been pushing in way too aggressively, in my opinion. And yeah, okay, they're just gonna continue to be aggressive here. As Pickles, he's just like, no, we are critzing.
I think now we have entered the threshold where they're thinking, okay, who cares? Come on, let's blast into the enemy team. Ems already, though, as he has done numerous times with a very fast high bump that they were expecting it. It allows all the space, though. Alien with the damage into Flower.
The damage from Alien is so crazy here. But this could actually work out here for BIGBLOKELAN, because this Kritzkrieg is about to come in and they just take down the medic. Huge bomb in from Warp. And now the Kritzkrieg is going to be a little more awkward because there's not that many players to kill. But a scout will just be able to clean everyone up here if they just crits him.
And if you use it now and you hit the air shot, you don't, though. That should be fine looking at it from a macro perspective, since even if you were to, you know, push with that Kritzkrieg and pop that Kritzkrieg, you would have still in theory had the advantage there, since it would have even built faster than the Medigun, but we don't even need that crits to secure.
I don't think they know where the other Medigun is. You know, you could crits in and then pick up the dying Medigun, but he got killed so long ago that could just...
Now the crits is coming in!
Oh, perfectly snipes down the demo man. The only person even in the same area code. And that's going to be all you're going to be able to find with that. So now the Kritzkrieg is revealed. We don't know if they knew already, but now it's going to be very, very difficult.
It's also funny because it might fade into insignificance, this entire play. I mean, Ems was trying to serve to them sort of as an aggressive stance and halted this entire push in its tracks. The Kritzkrieg is concurrently being built, but gradually the Medigun being up to par, rather. Bloke with a very crucial rocket star.
Crispy. And Uber has now been gained here. I think Danish Time Machine just want to hold. They just want to slow down the game and do nothing. It is a little bit dangerous to do against the Quickspeed because, you know, if Juxta is not fast enough, he will just drop through this Quickspeed. But it is always trouble using a Quickspeed that the enemy team absolutely knows you have. Okay, here we do not go. That looked so obvious. But maybe it's because I have X-ray vision.
Yeah, oh, now the sticky environment took 300 if he detonated, but they are charging in from behind their lines, and that is going to be most likely curtains, as this wonderful rotation was not called out early enough, and they wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, Warp has been spotted as well. They know exactly where he is. So they're just going to take this second point. You want to put a, you know, you could just stay on last, slow it down even more, but I like the idea better of just taking more ground, because that's going to be more time that they have to spend pushing forward here. And also, you have Uber and Uber ad. But
indeed, why not just put additional points into your own advantage? That takes time, but it is a lobby fight commencing, and Nicky gobbles up another health pack that helps him to win this 1v1. Warp is onto Smile, revenge onto that man. Juxta can protect himself, but not until then. Piggles has his friends in tow, and that might be a 2-1 if they play their cards right.
Yeah, they're going to try and rush down the demo man here. Jordan just unrelentless. Actually just going to go for the point, just to bait him forward there. Nicely played by him. And there we go. Actually, you know, we were talking about, yeah, I like pushing out to second, but maybe they're getting punished for it here. It can go wrong. There's more space out there. You have to do more.
I'm not saying anything anymore, by the way. I like how Alien gobbled up like 400, 500 damage there, and Mech, what do you even need a sniper for if you have the longest range crit sticky surgical precision there? And that should be a war crime, but at the end, 2.5 minutes, definitely still tireable for BIGBLOKELAN, or if you want to believe even more in them, winnable, but I think they're really happy with the tie, and then we go to a golden cap.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't matter how you win a map, it's all about getting there in the end.
This time, M's not jumping the medic.
No, decides to go for the flank instead this time around. Let's see, and he might find another soldier. Yeah, easy pick for him as Bloke was coming around for the med kit. Gets picked off here. This is looking very awkward. This is like the weirdest mid ever. Alien goes down though. Ward gets an air shot, doesn't matter. He wins the fight anyway. And now we have players both in front and behind, and this is getting real awkward. Both medics are alive. Juxta's about to have it. And that's probably the most important part, and he is on the right side.
Is Flick out of position? I mean, that is just a question right now, since they're going to push forward and they have one spawner behind to deal with him, but that is equal Uber situation, 90 seconds only to go, so now this is one of those neuralgic points that you really have to have the team coordination and the cohesion scrapped back together. Flick is still proving such a daunting prospect, a looming menace, a hassle at the end, but one player down, and I think they want to immediately take this.
Yeah. There's no sentry gun, there's no heavy, they're just cookie cutter still. That's pretty interesting. So they are just ready for the straight up fight here, as Jordy will take the eagle charge in here. And yeah, I think Alien is just gonna be ready here to meet this choke here as everyone's coming in.
Ems is in though, and they were banking on the dry fight, but Ems takes those heals out of the fight, and now it's a full out on deathmatch fight. Warp wins one awake, but it's the solemn vow, do no harm where harm is done for BIGBLOKELAN, as they have taken it already to a tie. Not mathematically possible. Golden cap on the horizon, Peter.
Yeah, we are going to a golden cap 100%. That is a huge comeback. It was looking so dark. They were down 2-0, and then somehow, with like 4 or 5 minutes remaining, they come back. I bet AMS is seething right now.
Seething, and you know what I would like? Mech just arrives on mid and has his laughing taunt.
Yeah, that would be the perfect mid. I agree. That is how to play. Okay, he's going for the double bomb. This is perfect play. Perfect play. Yeah, I no complaint. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Good mid.
Perfect player, perfect ratio, but GG go next. I mean, full wipe on BIGBLOKELAN, but they evidently only wanted to enforce the psychological warfare upon maybe a seething Ems. I want to give him the convalescent measures, trust in your teammates, but finally we're in the playoffs, and we have such wondrous games on our hands.
Yeah, that is really close. So here's the question, right? Do you think I think DTR has been playing better throughout the entire map, but are they just broken now? Is this too much? Because it really feels like it was just a big momentum shift, and they just got afraid of losing, and then you don't play as well on DTR, right? Do you think they're broken? Do you actually think?
I don't think they're broken per se, since those players are experienced enough to reconvalescence on their own part. But even if you have so much experience, it's very difficult if you have this win dangled in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, and the fault also really lie within, if you remember, like this 2-1 where it all started when they were pushing out and they were not playing it as constringent as they could have done. We were complimenting it, but apparently TF2, after all, is a game of dynamics, and we saw it perfectly played out here.
Yeah. I guess you're just better off turtling on last, I guess. But I will also say, the rounds that DTR won, I really feel like it came off of the back of BIGBLOKELAN just pushing way too aggressively. Right, like they would just push out and just feed players one at a time to try and make a big play, and the more they lost, the more desperate they got, and then eventually they just got rolled into last. So if they just don't do that, I think they have a great shot at winning this.
But also another prominent factor that just sprung to my mind was Flick was really inflicting those lethal wounds to the enemy team on Granary. I know they sort of didn't win that map, but you know, the spy plays coming in.
Makes sense.
On product being crazy, but then not wanting to say that he choked, definitely not, but you see how sometimes this sort of playstyle of him can be a stroke of luck. It can be liable to consistency.
Yeah.
Because he is trapped in behind and they are pushing forward.
Yeah. It should be interesting to see. He's definitely had a good match overall, but he's definitely been dealt with more. It didn't feel like he was being as destructive this time around. But I think he's going to do fine. I could really imagine the mid fights being the big key here, and we've seen AMS jump in very aggressively, where I think he only saw Pickles and no other player in the entire server. Right, he was just going straight for him, and that worked for 1 or 2 mids. But then the last mid we saw, they knew what was up. They just put Pickle way back in flowers, put like 3 players in front of him, and AMS was just a free kill.
But you see how I love that you can just look at these very single compartments and you see the experience shining long term. But because then on the 4th mid fight he tried to help out on Tetris and jump there because he realized they were being surrounded always from the high grounds and really didn't have that constringent of a grip on that entire bell tower. So he tried to shoot something up, but then again sometimes it's a 50-50 on those mid fights because the deathmatch is really, you know, it sometimes helps you, it sometimes bites you in the back.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-edged sword here. And in case you're wondering why we're not just starting, it's because they're like changing maps. They're like, should we play the Golden Cap on a different Sunshine?
I have absolutely no idea if that should be the case. What is a different Sunshine?
Yeah. It's they probably went for a smoke break or something, you know.
They went for smoke break.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Smoke break has already had enough. Do we really think they're even going for that poor team? I mean, they haven't, you know, done. They've been done for. Like they hadn't had the best showing, but maybe just toilet time.
Yeah, but I've always just like just keep playing, right? Like you're already playing. But I guess maybe.
I mean, you could say just lock in, but the problem is also that could just be 15 minutes of Golden Cap now.
Yeah, I will say we're standing right next to the path to the bathroom, but I haven't seen anyone from either team. So I don't know. Maybe they are just being really talkative, like talking it over, getting in fights, making love. I don't know what they're doing, but. Eventually, we are going to start here with this Golden Cap.
I got to tell you, admittedly, I'm also not keeping track of players going to the toilet. So
no,
I want to know a lot about these players, but there are also certain private borders that we have to respect. But in the end, I also wanted to highlight a little bit more on those sort of demo 1v1s. We saw Alien was definitely outperforming Mac, for example, on product. But how did you feel that translated to Sunshine? Because some clips that are stuck in my mind is like this very cheeky sticky carpet that apparently was not called out, but Mac reciprocating with this surgical precision, sizzling sticky straight into Shudder.
Yeah. Also, like Mac had the big bomb in, right, to probably take down Medic, but I feel like actually the Mac highlight plays, his team has lost those situations where it didn't really work out for his team. So I'm not sure how much. I think I'd rate Alien slightly higher in this game. I think he's been outperforming Mac a little bit. Not big enough to really like caused the game to be lost. But I think what this is going to come down to is which medic gets picked off, because both teams have been quite aggressively bombing the medic. And if you can bomb the enemy medic and you keep yours alive with like 10 HP, right? Like, that's just the game. I think that team that gets away with that, either on a mid fight or afterwards, I think that's gonna
I hear
decide this.
countdown in the back. Yes, we are entering.
Ooh, we're live. We're
again.
Live. We're live.
Hello, I was giving you a keyword, JMax. There we go. We've entered officially the 10-minute marker here on Golden Cap on Sunshine as the Granary. Well, take that with a Granary of Salt. That was DTR's map pick, but it was stolen away from them by BIGBLOKELAN. But then DTR pouncing back, and now we're on to Sunshine here as this Golden Cap mid-fight continues.
Amps again looks like he's just back on the Pickles hate train here. He goes in, but this time around, BIGBLOKELAN, they are definitely outperforming them, and it's just going to be a retreat action right now. And yeah, okay, Nicky was behind lines as well. He has been dealt with, so it's just Smile and Juxta, and they are on the right side. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, I get confused if they're running behind lines or if they're running home because of the way some mids are rotating. But no, they are actually here, and they're just going to be setting up on second, trying to hold that. So this could just, so far my theory of the first team to lose their medic is going to lose is not really relevant, because both medics stayed alive, and we could be settling for quite a stalemate.
I mean, Pickles did perish at the end scene of it, and the bandwagon was really dragging him out of the fight as Ams is shot to so low fitness as he wanted to be the spearhead of this entire aggression, as we see Smile is popped onto and then concurrently followed up gradually onto Alien, who wants to have 3 cheeky stickies on the flank, but no one to kill for him as Flick is just taunted.
Yeah, he was taunted. He was sort of looking around the corner. And he spotted a medic spot. He's just going to go behind lines. This is very, very awkward. No Ubers in play just right now, but that Uber was really bad. They lost one Uber or one player on DTR with that Uber. So now they've been bullied out of mid again.
I mean, Flick is still in behind. That is the Flick factor. I know that he is rather young, so zooming around apparently how eponymous, and he's still trying to nudge them, you know, try to contest with me, but you have to keep in mind that Pickles still has a 20% advantage, and they're using that on the second point. It is the Geordie show, but afterwards only really Am's claim. Flick, 1v1.
Yeah, actually bullies him off of this point, but okay, Warp comes in, cleans up. Very nicely done by him. And here comes the counter Uber again. They want to just bully everyone out of the second point. They have successfully evacuated, though, on BIGBLOKELAN. So these Ubers so far have been very inconsequential for Juxta. And he's not going to be happy about it. Now the aggression comes in.
BIGBLOKELAN want to re-enter the premises as those soldiers were very high up shot, but the main problem is that is how medic psychology works. If a medic doesn't have Uber, you have to kill the medic. In opposed to, you only have to make him scared, but in the end, they lose 3 players in pursuit of Juxta.
Yeah, and Ubers are actually even now, which is very interesting. That means that Pickles wasn't healing throughout much of that. So he was probably being spammed back and not really able to get to his team, so that might have been one of the reasons why they didn't have as much success as you think, as they were just trying to go in through the choke with a man advantage. But they're being very aggressive in this choke. I'm very surprised that both teams are this willing to walk through chokes. But yeah, I mean, I guess they had a tiny Uber ad, right? Like if you go around the corner, Jux is just standing there, you just pop, right? But
I mean, they were rather surprised of their own efforts. They're walking forward, trying to trundle almost, but the longest range projectile spam from high above really, well, dissipated their early thoughts of aggression. And now Alien wants to see what he can brew up from this little flank area. And you see how Ems wants to be set up, but yeah, now Ems is set up, landing on the fence, not sitting on the fence, figuratively speaking, for that much of a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, that was. I was really expecting Nicky to come flying in here. I think Nicky was a bit too weak, but that was just a textbook distraction play by AMS, right? Like, he's just like, look at me, everyone, I'm standing here. I'm like right here, you can shoot me.
Maybe sometimes a little bit too obvious, but I mean, it can kind of work. Maybe he should have also, I mean, taunted. That is the only real last thing that you can add onto this entire, you know, that could be the cherry on top. But you have to keep in mind, not only macro perspective, micro perspective. Only 5 minutes to go here, but Golden Cap.
Golden Cap, indeed. We are, there's only about 5 minutes remaining in the Golden Cap. I guess it's 10 minutes. Okay, I thought it was 15. So
yeah,
it's actually
me too.
shorter.
Maybe you're just washed. I don't know if the rule set changed at some
yeah.
certain point, but also it's only like 3.5 minutes until this entire fight sequence here resets. So currently they're really just trying to see if they can have a solo suicidal wave, and some people are signing their sacrificial pacts.
Yeah, they're not really. The medics are not playing with the soldiers. So the soldiers don't have.
Oh, that's a 3K!
How did that happen in the flank? There's an Uber. I don't understand. That made 0 sense. It was like Pickles was just like, no, I'm not popping here. So Pickles conserves his Uber, but drops half his team. And now Nick is going to come in, get the Uber force out. Good pop there from Pickles, perfect timing. But it is not ideal either. They've lost so many players. And now there's going to be an Uber ad here for DTR. They can build this. They could even go in with a man advantage. But they're not going to do that. Okay, they're just going to build out. So this could be what it all comes down to. Just one bad Uber or one bad exchange. That's all it takes.
That looked like a very dangerous settlement to Sake, and Danish Tyrant regime could almost smell their victory here on this upper bracket round 1. You see, though, if you monitor Sail and factor him in, then he can maybe find the sniper sideline as Juxta is pushing with his retinue in tow and his entourage as the parachute is unlocked, but Bloke only really floats above. But can he land eventually, forcing all the eyes to that the sentry is level 3 apparently somehow.
Yeah, Sentry Gun didn't get dealt with for a really long time, and that's actually going to make a big
Mac
difference.
is chasing!
Oh, Medic trying so hard to get out here. Okay, Mac will eventually get taken down, but yeah, they're not going to be able to get many kills, but they do manage to save Juxta. I say that, actually the scout
1v1, come on, fear me, come on, fight me! And I have Smile around the corner, so that makes it kind of easy. I was just picturing them to, you know, it's not over until the bell rings here, and you're locked in here with me.
Yeah, and there's a big Uber ad now. BIGBLOKELAN gonna go through these chokes. These chokes have been extremely deadly so far. And they've really struggled to go through, so they need to be very decisive to come in here. Soldiers are contesting the high ground, but it looks like BIGBLOKELAN are slowly but surely coming in here. Actually, they're gonna pop. They felt the pressure enough that they just want to clean off now. And Smile, again, goes in for the flank, takes down the Demo Man, and now it's gonna be an awkward fight. It's a 5-on-4, but the respawners are gonna be better for Danish Tyrant regime.
Pickles and compatriots were a little bit clustered up there in front of their own Tetris area, not able really to compartmentalize their resources out enough, so it nets Juxta this much needed Uber advantage as they eye up this very succulent push here from this little flank. Flower is officiated by Ems and compatriots, and Ems is leaping onto the rather blue Tetris, as you can see, just securing the space eventually. Sail a little bit idiosyncratically going down, and they're losing their players undisciplined.
Yeah, the spawn wave now is really crucial. They're just going to give up mid here. BIGBLOKELAN, they don't want to fight this. It is a slight Uber disad right now, but Pickles is definitely going to get there before.
Are they denying them? Oh, they just about denied the 1 second, and that is also what they were monitoring, you know. They were looking at the top of the screen because that entire forward spawn is the reason why you can probably fight the second point here, and Jordi wants to have his eyes and our eyes pulled to him. Solo trade on him. 1 shot, 2 shots, 206 damage. People are exploding!
Ams comes in with the flank, does so much work, but that Uber was really, really good. I think they were flashing like 4 players on DTR. So great Jordi Uber here. Ams is behind. He's been spotted. It's going to be very difficult for him. He can't go for the back cap. He's not going to have enough cap time here. So he can either try to just get out alive, or he can just wait around. Looks like
is Ems sort of doing a flick play
he
here?
somehow gets onto the
He's
medic.
still alive! Here was the follow-up, alienating the own opposing team's medic force own team. It brought so much time. Jordi is in. Jordi Shore through dungeon, but eventually addressed, and now it is DTR on the have a claim on that second point. The Tyrant is only ever getting stronger here with his own regime.
Yeah, it's really crazy. That was just, there's no way that should have worked as well as it did. I can't believe everyone just like jumped after AMS and then he just jumped back for the medic. Did enough damage that Alien could just follow it up quite easily. So now we're here. It's very, very, very close. It's 50 seconds to get this. We might be going to a golden mid.
Golden mid fight. And we see only some golden players here walking through as someone is being flashed, and they had to multi, but only then securing the ground at that midpoint. And it is still a battle continuing, commencing as it started. Sale wants to pry a little bit here from the cafe area, but nothing for him to find anymore. And for all you rule set enthusiasts, I can already picture a golden mid-fight coming up in 20 seconds.
Yep, we have 20 seconds. There's just no way either team can do this. Pickles has the Uber. You can just go for backflips, that's it. Am's gonna go down. And they're being very aggressive.
Four people into the respawn queue, but you know, not enough time.
Yeah, they're going for the back cap. It's basically the only way they could ever win, if they just get the back cap and then somehow go into last, right? When there's 30 seconds, that's all you can do. But it is not enough, and we are going to a golden mid. That means that we start over, we have one mid fight, the winner of that just wins the map.
Just wins the map outright, and I mean, that is also how it ended on. I see a little spotted here on the camera, yeah. Full wipe.
Full wipe.
Full wipe.
Yeah,
just having a theory crafting there, but it's incredible. I have completely lost track of time since it has been ongoing constantly, and I have the feeling that maybe that is not the first golden cap of this entire tournament, maybe not the first golden mid-fight win or golden mid-fight fight of this entire tournament, but
it might be. It's there were no one yesterday, right? So it's only today's matches.
Yeah.
So it's the first one. It's official. I'm just calling it. I'm guessing.
I'm just not saying it's not the last one. Maybe.
Probably not the last one either, no. I think we're going to have a lot of these, but I'm actually trying to remember who has been winning these mid-fights. I feel like BIGBLOKELAN has been winning them slightly, right? Like,
I mean, you have to account the team usually that had Piggles lost the mid-fights because it was always Ams jumping in, so that was BIGBLOKELAN, but the problem is that was, if I count only this map here, 30 minutes ago, because those were the two first mid-fight wins, and since then BIGBLOKELAN definitely adapted way more, protecting Piggles, taking high grounds, and pulling deathmatch through.
Yeah, I'll also say that, you know, in a normal game, you want to pick off the medic because that way you can't get rolled into last, that kind of stuff, right? That's not as important now. It doesn't really matter what happens after the mid-fight, it's just all about the mid-fight. You know, normally you will have like a medic run out with a scout, and then you can come back in and you have the Uber ad. All of that is just out the window now. So, like, medics will full commit. Everyone will full commit, full send. We're just going to have one big fight, and that could change the way you play it because, you know, obviously you can win a mid-fight in many different ways in a normal game where you don't cap the point first. But now you can't.
Indeed, it's also very funny because that's what I always say. You don't have to win any team fight at all. You only need to cap that mid pile. You can even play it as in, yeah, we just, you know, focus the cap all the time and then maybe get that in under their noses. But the normal meta, I would say, is that you have to keep eyes on those mediguns because crit streak is very valuable here.
Yeah, you can absolutely go crits. I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that's a very good point, right? Builds 10 seconds faster, and you just get it. And you can use really quiet. I wouldn't actually be surprised to see 2 crit streaks just going into the mid. It's just full-on chaos. But I think you're also right when you say that you can just play the point because it's the point on Sunshine. You can actually, it's pretty good for scouts to stand on and fight, right? Like that's high ground compared to a lot of the other stuff. So if you just get scouts on that high ground on the mid cap, you're capping out the mid, you're shooting down, and then they have to go forward into you. So that can get very dangerous.
It is also quite formidable for scouts because they can dart forth, but most importantly they can also and are sanguine enough to dart back, so they don't always have to fully commit themselves. They're sort of edging the point, as the new kids on the block say. I know that you're waiting for that, but anyway, we're still waiting our sweet time for players here to come back in, but I'm already telling you, like, they are probably brimming with life and enthusiasm as much as we are.
Yeah. I wonder what the vibe is in both of these rooms. I think they're just fully engaged and locked in, I think, at this point. I really hope and think they just want to get going as soon as possible here, and just, but yeah, you definitely want to talk it through here. It's just it's a map talk, but it's just a mid fight, and looks like we are going live here. Who will take this? Winner goes on to the top upper bracket. Loser will fall down into a lower bracket. It's all going to come down to one mid fight, double crit streak on the rollout. You were right. this is going to be it.
Yeah, but can you read me like lotto numbers? You said double crits, and that is exactly what we are queuing up into here. Mac really doesn't find any player to shoot, but so is Alien. It will probably be a very slow approach to this mid, but once you have one advantage, it sets their eyes red. Ems is now bombing into the flower area, wants to take a 1v2, a 2v1 against the blue soldier, and nothing really is found so far. Still people are surviving, but now the slaughterhouse might turn into the disfavor of Danish Tyrant regime.
And Jockster has gone down. They're standing on the point now. This is looking so good for BIGBLOKELAN. They want to get the forward. Okay, Kritzkrieg's about to come in here. And there we go. It's Jordy just critzing everyone down, but actually he gets taken down, but it's one person remaining. Flick is going to have to do the hits of a lifetime, and there we go. That's it. BIGBLOKELAN will win. That's it.
That's it.
Done.
Game over, and we hear the clapping in the background. What a fantastic show for everyone to see, and it is, I don't want to say anticlimactic at all, but it's crazy to think that it feels for me 3 hours of gameplay boil down to this one mid-fight.
Yeah, and it was just the funniest soldier fight in Flowers, right? They were just jumping around, trying to airshot each other, and then eventually they got picked off. So I think it's just the fact that DTR committed 2 soldiers to the flower areas, and they didn't really do a whole lot. They was just being distracted by one lone soldier over and over again. So yeah, there's a lot to analyze here. So once the analyst desk is ready, I have a bunch of questions for them. All right.
And once they have our RSC cabinet 100 fully charged up batteries on microphones, so fingers crossed it won't be an issue this time. I'm waiting for the signal, but that might come in as soonish. And
yeah. All right. Okay. So I have one question for the analyst desk. I think they're ready. So I want to hear. Do you feel like BIGBLOKELAN, they threw the 2 rounds that they won early on Sunshine? Were those throws or not? Take it away, analyst desk.
They're throwing it.
You hear that, boys? You hear that? Were those rounds throws in that Sunshine map? Stephen, opinions?
Are we talking about DTR throwing those 2 rounds?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was in there, and they were feeling good for most of that game, clinched back a couple of rounds, it was looking good. And then they're like, guys, it's like 6 minutes remaining, we know they're going to dry fight, and then they absolutely just shit the bed. I don't know where Smile's looking, bro. He's going around point. He's complaining about comms. Some people are trying to go to mid. Some people are trying to defend. No one knew what was going on. And then after that, like, the stress was just building. I could tell that heart rates were high throughout the entire time. And yeah, I think they kind of beefed. And then they couldn't get it back. They didn't have the mojo to finish that one out. And it went, I guess, rightfully so, towards the blokes. What about you? How are you feeling about that?
All I can say is the vibes in the BIGBLOKELAN room were incredible. You know what I mean? They were happy to get back into the game, and then obviously we went to the golden cap and then to the golden mid, which everybody wants to see. You know, Pig is talking about some secret strats. I'm not going to leak it live on stream, you know, but there's some secret strats going into that golden mid. And yeah, they're just screaming their heads off when they finally get the dub there, and it's I'm happy for them, even if I kind of want my DTR bros to win, but, you know, you got to give it to the BIGBLOKELAN boys.
I mean, we are playing the 6v6 format, but it did feel like at times it was maybe like 12 versus 0. I don't know why they kind of threw a little bit on Danish Tyrant regime towards those last couple of rounds as the panic was searing through them. And yeah, I don't know. It looked really tight. It was really impressive at one point. I think Smile had 4 DOMs at some point during the game, and then he just kind of like lost the foothold on that. Did you see anything like that was imposing from... Because I know you were in the box with Danish Tyrant regime, Stephen. Did you see anything that was from their end that was giving them trouble?
It just started getting messy. I think what was working well for them, they were getting a lot of plays, getting players in behind. Ams and Nikki were in a lot behind. And then things started going wrong. They tried to make those miracle plays happen by trying to play a bit of cheeky TF2. Their Flick going behind, Ams going behind. And it just stopped working for them. They kind of had one game plan, and when it stopped working, they kind of crumbled and didn't know what to do. A Smile solo Uber could only work so many times into them, and I think it stopped working. They didn't adapt, I think, was their big issue, honestly.
Condawg, tell me about the stresses of a golden mid. We don't really see too many of these about in TF2 nowadays, but we were blessed with the first round of our bracket system with a golden mid. It's probably one of the more stressful things to do in TF2, correct?
Well, I'll tell you, you'd think that. I mean, yes, you said they're pretty rare, but when you go into it, there's a limited amount of things you can do. You know, you're not going to play with your med to try and leave mid. It's all in. Every last member of that team is going to be in there. Your medic's in. Your you tend to run the cryptids, as we saw. You know, didn't really come into play. It was more of an alien feed that kind of snowballed into something else there. But we do love a golden mid because it's just so much pressure, so much intensity, rather than TF2, which is known to be a little bit slow sometimes. And, you know, Turbo, I'm surprised you haven't brought it up yet, but your prediction of the golden cap was...
I'm incredibly smug. You have no idea how... And you know what was even more delicious? Like, we were in the boxes as well, and obviously the pressure cooker was turning up. These players get awfully toxic with one another when they when the chips are down, when their egos are on the line, and they've got eyeballs set upon them in the, you know, live in the box and online as well. They'll start throwing some shade at each other. They will eat each other. Isn't that right, Stephen?
Yeah, they can do. I think the anger and the egos can kind of get to people a little bit, especially when it's not working. You look to blame sometimes. And yeah, it can happen. It wasn't too bad. I didn't sit for the very last golden mid. I was a bit scared that I'd be down here late, but I needn't have worried. I know, it was horrible. And there were so many people in there as well, though. It was like a full fishbowl, too many goldfish in there. But no, there was definitely... it was stress, and then you look for the blame game, and I think people were a little worried. I saw Nicky especially started really struggling. I mean, we had his cam on that final golden mid, and he just beefed his rockets. If he got in with arms there, hits the air shot, I think it's a win. They save Alien. It's all good. But no, it was not meant to be that day. It looked all BIGBLOKELAN on that final golden mid.
Condawg, obviously BIGBLOKELAN go into continued into the upper bracket now, but are they going to be all smiles after this, or are they actually going to be like, we had some problems we need to address here?
I mean, I think they'll realise obviously that Viaduct, not their map. You know, we won't be seeing that come out again. Or maybe they will. Maybe they're just going to go into it with a bit of bluster and confidence and just sort of really try and force it through. I don't know if are we able to get the bracket up, Turbos? You know, are we able to find out who they're going to play next?
If you press your hands together and maybe pray upon production,
like
you know,
little
and
prayer?
have them hastily type in all the information, maybe. But there is a lot of information there. Stephen, if you don't do it, it doesn't happen. Stephen, you got to press your hands together, pray to the production that hopefully we get what we want. But
I do know what's happening. If you just want me to say,
all right, okay.
I've got it on the top of my head.
All right,
so
okay.
the winners of that game, the blokes, are going to be playing Witness in their next bracket. Hey, you say that, but who beat Witness yesterday? Lightning can strike twice. Hey, if you get struck once, you're actually more likely to get struck again than any other.
Yeah, there was one bloke in history that got struck like 11 times or something like that.
So it can happen. So maybe the blokes, they got a bit of lightning.
Give him that microphone. He's tired of this propaganda.
Stephen, look, it's a best of 3. It's not a Mickey Mouse best of 1 like it was yesterday. All right? We're not going to be having a 1-minute little kind of cap at the end of the map a couple of times in a row, 3 times in a row. No,
your prayers have been answered. Lightning strikes on this stream, and we can see the brackets have been put forward. You can see who's made it to the next round, at least in the upper bracket. That does mean that whatever team has not made it to that section, they're going to be knocked down to the lower bracket. It'd be very cruel to ask production to put that in right now, so I'll spare them of that. But yeah, any scorelines that are jumping out at you, compadres?
Condawg? Turbo, look, I mean, are you seeing in the middle there?
Whoa, that's an anti-side map win.
Yeah.
That's not in the script. Excuse me, Charlie.
Turbo, I had a little peek at the logs, you know. Obviously, I was watching it. I was paying big, you know, close attention to the Mac boys. But I had a little peek at the logs mid-game. 3-2 on Bagel, it was. And it must be, you know, a bit of magic coming out from the boys.
Factor coming back and saving these teams.
It really is. I mean, the group stages, you couldn't play it, but now these teams are unleashed. They're going to be really taking it forward, and hopefully we'll get a few more Koth games on the stream, I'm hoping.
Yeah, so at the end, when the dust settles, Witness Gaming, BIGBLOKELAN are going to be playing each other. That leaves 4 Fence, and I believe it was Mandem are going to be playing against each other. I mean, if I had to pick one, I think I'm feeling more I'm sticking with it. The Mandem game. I think the Mandem game is actually a bit more spicy here. I know, again, we were talking about, like, you know, the Witness Slayers and all this, but I think Mickey Mouse over there has convinced me. Oh, wait, excuse me, is Mickey Mouse on the phone?
Sorry, Toby, I've just been told, the whisper in the ear. If you want to see more of these lands, you've got to get over to donate.poLAND.tf, because we love putting this on for you. We love having fun. We love the players over here. And if you want to see more of that, you know, why don't you chuck in a penny or 2? over to you, Turbo.
Shameless, absolutely shameless. All right, well, obviously we need to like figure out who we're going to cover in our next game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Four Fence and all that lot, but we don't know entirely. We're going to figure out.
I think it's the Dogs against the loser there. I think it should be the Dogs. We're going to see that. There we are.
I see. So we're going to the lower bracket first. We're going to pay a quick visit, and then obviously then we're going to reel back over to our semi-final. So fair enough then. I guess that's nice. Nice little break. We get to follow these teams that obviously have been knocked down, and they're going to play against those scrappy Div 1 teams.
And you get to make people bark again.
Oof. All right. I'll see you guys soon. We're going to throw it to a little break, and we'll be back with the lower bracket.
Knock them out, take height. Go, weak on right. On me, I need heal. On me. Sort top. So right, another inch. 250. Dead. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What a boy. Oh yeah. That was way too difficult. That was so clean. So clean.